when you grab a hold of me. You tell me that I would never be set free. Well, I'm a parasite, mama, without a creeping, crawling, I slip into the night. 2 pints of booze. Tell me, are you a bad bitch too? You a bad bitch too now? Ain't got no money to spend. I hope this night would never ever end. Yeah, Lord knows that I'm weak. Won't somebody get me off of this here reef? Well, baby, you're a big blue whale. Yes, I grabbed that reef when all the diving failed. I could swim, but I wish I never learned. I said the water's much too polluted with germs. But I dive deep when it's 10 feet overhead. Oh, and I grabbed that reef right underneath my bed. Underneath my bed, y'all. Ain't got no quarrels with God. I got no time to get old. No, no, no. Lord knows that I'm weak. Won't somebody... Hydrofield cuts through my neighborhood.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fearlessly Authentic. This is Lucky, and we have... That's your cue. You're supposed to say hi.
Oh, hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your old pal, Stever, and glad to be here. Glad you guys are here. Please do us a favor and share this out on your social medias, and let's round up some people. Let's make it happen. Let's make a thing happen. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Go.
Do it.
See, things are happening already. I said that.
Yeah, there is. There's something happening right now.
Then I heard boop.
Are you guys excited? I'm really excited. Magnus!
How are you?
How are you?
I'm great, actually.
Oh, Leo says, I wore my Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, buddy.
Yes. What do you think?
He's an honorary boog, I think.
I
Yeah.
approve.
Isn't he adorable? Look at that. Like, I mean, how could we not? Huh? So how are you? I haven't met you face to face yet. Only on the interwebs.
Only on the interwebs for like a year straight. I'm good. I'm enjoying my days off, dealing with the madness that is Twitter as per usual. Making art for our anti-war march in April.
Nice.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I know. That is something that I think that confuses the hell out of people.
I confuse the hell out of a lot of people. It's great.
Me too. We're same team, man. Like I mean, I don't have a long gun, but
confusion.
The confusion is equal though. Like it's like the assumptions are just astronomical.
People don't know what to do with the in-betweeners.
They don't. Steve, you should come like say hi like face to face, like so you're not just like this weird
No, I'm still being here.
The disembodied voice
He
of
can't
Steve.
see your weird big weirdo. You guys both have the big beardos.
Yeah. It's a
Slightly
thing.
less big beardo today, but
Yes. Oh my gosh. So Ricky Rance was on a stream and we saw that what is his name? I'm totally drawing a blank on his name because he's going by two different names. That guy.
Oh,
Henry?
Is it Henry?
is it Henry?
Are we talking about my
Henry
friend who posted
or
the video?
Mike? Yeah.
'Cause there's
Yeah.
two
Was it
different people.
Henry? Is it Henry Dunn or Mike?
No,
No.
Mike Dunn and Henry are two different people. So.
Mike Dunn and Henry are two different
Oh, okay.
people. Okay. I had two confused.
Okay, so yeah, let me see. What is his name? It's this guy. The boot. Yeah. I have to show you. Did you see that Richard Medhurst did a thing on talked about the Boogaloo boys?
Oh no, I missed that. I like
Yeah.
Richard. I hope it wasn't bad.
This guy.
It wasn't.
Okay,
wasn't
so
like
that's
awful.
that's my
who?
good friend Henry right there.
That is Henry. He's your good friend.
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm very curious because was it the news to share? Did you see their report on him?
Which
interview?
one? Okay, so the interview is with Mike Dunn, and that's a separate guy.
Okay, they're two different guys.
Yeah. Mike
Okay.
Dunn was infamously removed from our organization for his shenaniganry and possibly being a federal informant, and now a cop. So, yeah.
So there's been like a whole lot of like we were very very confused as to, who was what
who?
in the
Yeah.
in this whole entire situation.
But that's really cool. And Rich Medhurst, to his credit, he was just like he was puzzled.
Well, we're gonna play it. We're gonna play it.
Good.
I'm gonna play the clip. Yeah.
Okay, that's easier.
We are a very confusing organization to most people. I usually like compare us to Anonymous back when it was getting a lot of attention to where nobody could figure it out because it's decentralized. So they don't, and
Steve, can you help with that?
the political brains don't understand decentralized movements whatsoever. They need figureheads and uniform ideology, or otherwise they get all scared and confused. So
I grew up as a military brat, believe it or not. So like I get it. I remember like seeing my mom in her neighborhood where it's like, the gated Florida community, like where everybody has the cookie cutter houses that they're all the same. And I'm like, and there's someone there to tell you exactly how long your lawn can be. And I'm like, this is good for you because this is the way you guys like that kind of. This is not me. I'm like, I want to live in a freaking hippie bus and travel around and be nomadic. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the same. Like kind of like, even though I was raised in that kind of like environment, definitely not, but I get like, they want that compartmentalization and oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My bird Peaches is going crazy.
Having a moment.
Yes, he is. He's very like upset lately. He picks up off of like whatever is going on with like us and our house and just in the greater scheme of things, like so sensitive. I'm gonna see who's in our chat before we get like really into everything. We have Shadow Band Refugee, who absolutely
blank boxes.
And he's death to all who stand in the way of freedom for working people.
I got that patch right here somewhere. Where was it? Right. Ta-da!
Look at that.
I know my girlfriend just got it for me, so very pleased.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. And we have Elle in the chat. Elle is awesome. I don't know if you've seen Elle's work, Elle Latham. She does awesome work, and she's been doing Sundays with me. We've been having a blast.
Nice.
that has been awesome. And Hunter Carranza, you know Hunter from over. She was doing stuff with Combo
Yeah.
Couch. Yeah.
I love Hunter.
Yes, she does
She's the
Sundays with me too. Now because of the whole move and everybody, you know, Slow News Day and Pasta moving to Vegas and Hunter moved back there too because she was at the Combo House. Like it's a whole thing. Like, but she's gonna be back doing Sundays with us again. So
Yay.
that will be a lot of fun.
All the people.
Yes.
I'm gonna get really excited when I hit a point in my life where I can get back involved with like everything because right now I only get a week off a month, and so it's kind of madness.
That's insane. Oh my gosh. And here's Tina, that's Shadow Band's wife, beautiful wife. They are such beautiful people. I'm so grateful for our community. Like I'm just amazed at how like the actual core group of people, how strong we are, and I feel like we're making a difference. It may not be as fast as we want it to be, but I feel like we are, and at least in this insane world we have each other in this because it's crazy. This is nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely time to put in some work with everything that's going on.
Oh, let's see who else we got. Alex in here. And we got Popeye. Popeye has been doing some cool music stuff with Steve. Because Steve does his live streams, his music live streams. And then now I guess they're doing do you want to tell them what you're doing? You guys are like sending clips back and forth and stuff.
Yeah, we're just like our other buddy Jim, who lives in Oregon, he plays keyboards and shit. So he like recorded some of my live stream and then like played along with it or whatever, made a recording of that. And that sounded cool. So now we have Popeye doing the same thing with drums and whatever, you know, he plays guitar as well and stuff. And like just tossing around different songs or whatever in different tracks and like I don't know, long distance collaboration. It's kind of fucking neat.
Nice. Yeah, I still need to get some of your stuff that you send to me and have it turned into a print so I can put it on my wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to go back like way deep in my Google Photos and drag those back up. I lost a bunch of them, which makes me super sad. So I only have one left.
Oh,
so if you still have them lurking around somewhere, send them to me because I love them.
I'm sure that we do. Princess Magnus.
I will link you up for sure.
My favorite princess.
That's the only one I have is the Princess Magnus one. I don't know where all the other ones went.
Oh, well, we'll find what we have. And we have Jack Sith in here. Jack Sith is amazing, brilliant human. And Gamer for life. Gamer is everywhere. Gamer is like he is a chatty one of the chatters that we know from like all the different shows and stuff around. That's awesome. He's a chatter. Yeah, he's one of our chatters. Yeah, he should. Yes. And we have Tony watches closely with us. And Vegan Succubus. And Vicky's like Peaches. Yes, Peaches is the parrot in the background that won't shut up.
So I have a question now. The title of this show was, you know, can the Boogaloo Boys help win the war in Ukraine? Now, I am eager to learn your response to that. Like, if you think it's an option.
Probably not.
Oh, there's Hunter. Hi, Hunter.
Damn, I thought you know it had like one of those revelation moments, like, oh, this is a good headline. Maybe it can happen. I don't know. Let's see if we can will it into existence.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Especially seeing how just the few people that I know that went over there is going.
Yeah,
it's not great.
Yeah, it seems not great. If like anybody's over there fighting, it does not seem like an excellent, you know, place to be.
Yeah, and thankfully Henry, he just got back to the States and he apparently has a bunch of stuff of like other videos of other volunteers apparently backing up his story and stuff like that. And he's going to start going on with shows with people, decent sized big people.
Right on.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that will be really interesting. Yeah, because there was some confusion on, we weren't sure. I was like, wait, who is? I was, you know, between the interview on the News to Share, which I'm trying to find that one because I wanted to find out about what was happening with that, and is this kid definitely like a Fed? I don't know.
Yeah, because that was the thing is Henry and Mike both went. I don't think they went together.
Oh, okay. So they both did go there.
Yeah, they both went. And then Henry, like his whole story, everything, everybody knows that now. I guess I can reiterate. Apparently, he just had a clusterfuck of a situation and had to leave and essentially flee the country. And he posted on Snapchat kind of explaining his story or whatever. And then Mike just literally like rematerialized from the ether whenever there's opportunity to jump in front of a camera and act important. Gave that interview, I guess, at the trucker thing in DC, I guess, where he gave that interview. I don't know.
Yeah, you could hear it in the background.
Yeah, which like his whole story is hilarious accusations of being an informant when literally he's even admitting that like essentially what happened is I can reiterate the story.
He didn't convince me that he wasn't. He convinced me he was.
This is the whole story. This is actually the first video I ever posted to my YouTube was explaining this clusterfuck. But apparently he went up to
we're talking about I want to bring up his face so we see him, right? This is who you're talking about right here.
Yes, this is Mike Dunn.
Mike Dunn.
Yes. So he was a very prominent kind of figurehead in the movement, but before I came along, he was probably like the most popular person and like kind of did this very similar things that I did, whatever was going on news and stuff like that. But kind of divisive figure in the movement for a lot of reasons. But he essentially went up to Maine with some guy and then like was freaking out all over Twitter about how apparently this dude was trying to make bombs to blow up a hospital or something or whatever, and then he was posting things about how he was arrested at a gas station at gunpoint, but then he was posting things that he hadn't been arrested, just a bunch of like confusing weird shit.
Wow.
And then like, you know, people are like, what the fuck he's even admitting that he talked to the police and snitched this guy out or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, like building bombs to blow up a hospital, that's pretty bad. So, you know, I wouldn't blame anybody if that's what's going on. But the dude that got arrested, the only thing he was charged with was possession of illegal ammunition, and he was out of jail in like 4 months. That's kind of weird. And then like everybody was called Mike out on it, and he disappeared. He formally renounced the Boogaloo or whatever, and he's not one of us anymore. And that kind of fell off the face of the earth. And then, and then before this, he posted a picture in Washington, D.C. the night of January 6th, along with video of his guys, his militia that he formed, the Last Sons of Liberty or some shit, participating in the January 6th thing, which is a whole nother, like, he never got arrested for that, even though you're like, yeah, it's all just weird. It's all weird. So he fell off.
Ironic.
Yeah. He fell off the face of the earth and like renounced us or whatever, and he's not a boog anymore, according to his own words. But then he popped up on this and gave this interview to Ford about how he's going for Ukraine and that's his whole new grift or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Henry's thing happened, and he like fucking stabs Henry in the back. It's like Henry's a liar and none of this is happening or whatever. And accordingly, Mike himself was kicked out of the volunteer brigades in fucking Ukraine for some reason. I don't know what you'd have to do to get kicked out of the volunteer brigades, and went and joined up with the National Guard, which includes the really great people in Ukraine that everybody's been talking about.
So he got his wish to be a neo-Nazi, basically.
Right. I can't verify if that happened. That's all hearsay. I've seen no proof of that. That's just a story. He might not have had that at all. It might all be bullshit, but that's the current clusterfuck. What I do know for sure is that he was there for just a brief little while, and now he's back in the United States. So he literally just like made this big show and dance of being interviewed by Ford and like making this big, I'm going to go fight for Ukraine, die for some other country, and then he comes home in like a week. So like, yeah, I don't like this kid. I don't like this kid at all. I think he's one of the worst things that's happened to the movement. So, and he's not well liked by the majority of the movement, which really irritates me that he's still affiliated and associated with us. But
because he can just affiliate himself like
Yeah.
there's no like official meeting,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, or
he's
you know.
left. He's left and come back like multiple times, and it's always like he leaves until there's a camera to jump in front of, and then he's a boog again. It's like it's so annoying.
And Bella
No, I
was
was not.
asking.
That's
I've
pretty
never
cool
been there
to
in my
like
life.
actually just listen for a second and get my mind around what you were just saying. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's quite the tale.
Jesus.
And arc.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, I was confused. I was like, wait, is this guy the same? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know, you know what I mean? These guys, and I'm like, this guy's an informant, kind of, you know, like calling himself one basically by what he's saying. And so like we were watching it and we're like trying to understand, like, all right, well, what's really happening here? Because this guy, and then we have someone else, and it's like that's what's I thought was really important about bringing you on and having the actual conversation about like who are the people and the characters that are in this, and you know, identifying what the Boogaloo Boys really are, because you guys get like this very confusing rap I hear from different people. And now I've heard it from, you know, other sources and other platforms that you have been on yourself, but I wanted people to be able to hear it from somebody that is part of the movement, and also talk about how just because you are a Boogaloo and you have, you know, like with the gun, you know, that doesn't mean that you're pro-war per se.
No, yeah.
Like that doesn't,
I'm
that's
explicitly
not an
anti-war.
automatic thing.
I run an anti-war organization.
Exactly.
Yeah, clearly you're anti-war. You know, that's the thing. Like, you try to have this conversation. It's so nuanced in that way. Like, but he goes to Black Lives Matter rallies with machine guns. But like, why would you do that? Like, well, it's not to confront anyone. It's to protect people that might be getting fucking hurt in those situations.
Yeah, and like
from the oppositional forces that are fucking just walking around with just as many guns. So what is the fucking point?
Well, that's the thing too, is you know it's that's coming from like super shit libs, because every event I've gone to in multiple states has Brown Gun Club people. They have like, you know, ex-redneck revolt people. They have Black Panthers. Like, there's guns at all of these events, you know. So it's.
We went to a dead show, and the dead show, you know, there was security and cops out there with freaking long guns. I was like, really? What do you think that the heads are gonna do?
Right, the dead heads.
Seriously? Like, what?
The,
we have the nitrous mafia. That's a thing. That's a
right,
real thing.
I was literally about to say the 65-year-old guy with a cane dragging around a giant tank of nitrous. That's the worst thing you're gonna run into.
But I was like super intimidated. I'm like, okay, what is happening? Why is it that
the 102nd Ukrainian Territorial Defense?
I so resemble that remark, except for, you know, I'm only 55, so
you're not as old.
I just started later.
So this I found that Richard Medhurst had covered. And I did tag him in the thing, and I reached out to Claude in case, you know, he wanted to have a larger conversation about it.
Like ever. I'm like a giant fan of his.
Yeah, right. I know, he's awesome. So he actually asked some questions and breaks down this from his perspective, and I thought, wow, this would be really interesting to see if you hadn't seen it, how, you know, what your reaction was to it. So I can play this, and then let me know if you need me to stop it or anything like that. Oh my God.
So there's this video that's been circulating online about some American who allegedly went to Ukraine, and it turns out that they don't stand a chance in hell against the Russians, these volunteers, because as you know, Zelensky was proudly proclaiming that Ukraine has amassed about 16,000 foreign volunteers to come fight in Ukraine. And this video made the rounds. Let me play it to you, and then we'll discuss. This was posted again by Alex Rubenstein. He says, American volunteer in Ukraine describes how foreigners who flocked over to the country to fight Russia are being used as cannon fodder and are threatened by Ukrainian forces with murder if they refuse to deploy on suicide missions. Let's take a look.
So for any of you who are wondering what is going on, all right, We were part of the Georgia National Legion, the 102nd Ukrainian Territorial Defense. Okay. Our base got fucked up. The base right next to us got fucked up. Americans, British, tons of British dead. All right. They're not saying nothing. They're counting our dead as their dead. They're trying to send us to Kiev with no fucking weapons, no kit, no fucking plates. The people who are lucky enough to get weapons are only getting magazines with like 10 fucking rounds, okay? When they wanted to send us to Kiev, we said no. Our whole group, a bunch of Americans, Canadians, British. So they told us we had to get the fuck out or they were going to shoot us in the back, all right? So me, this British guy, and another American, we fucking hid in the back of an ambulance to get out. We got to the border and it was a whole nother mess. When you get to the border, anyone who has kit, anyone who has any military shit, they're fucking pulling you out of the line and they're sending you back to the front. We got dropped off about 5 clicks from the fucking from the border and we walked. And we get to the border in this humanitarian group with a bunch of ex-SF veterans from England, pull us to the side and say, you need to get, like, pulled us out and fucking, like, hit us. And they were like, you need to dump all your kit. They're pulling people out, cutting up passports, sending them back. So we dumped our shit. We got, like, in all of our we got in, like, Red Cross vests, and they had, like, fucking humanitarian passes to get us through the Ukrainian border. People need to stop coming here. It's a trap, and they're not letting you fucking leave. The best way to leave is like in a Vic or a car or something. People who get on by vehicle have a better chance of hiding their fucking kit in the back, doing whatever the fuck they can, but do not try to leave Ukraine on foot if you're a volunteer. It's a mess, and it's a trap. And I have multiple people who can confirm this story for me.
Wow. Well, that sure doesn't sound like the cakewalk they made it out to be. I'm sorry, man. Like, you went to a war zone. What did you expect? This is not Call of Duty. My goodness. I take no pleasure in laughing in Schadenfreude. It's nothing to do with that. I'm just stunned. Like, what do you think they were gonna do?
So yeah, so there has been a lot of that, and it's true to an extent, but I do kind of resent the, like, it's not Call of Duty or whatever. Like, a lot of my friends are like ex-military and like combat vets. Like, they've been shot at by like real shit. His issue like wasn't that it was a war. He left because they were undersupplied and being treated like shit. That has nothing to do with like, oh, it's Call of Duty or whatever. And I understand why people are saying that, because there is like a lot of Reddit idiots that want to go over there and fight and posting stupid stuff or whatever. But just because it's my friend, it's like, come on, like, no, like, this is a combat vet. Like, you just listen to him talk. Like, this isn't some idiot that played a couple video games and then went over there expecting to shoot some goat farmers in Afghanistan, and like we've been doing forever. Like, no, they knew what they were getting into. The problem was they didn't know what they were getting into with the Ukrainian government. So it's like, Do you freeze? Nope, you're not frozen. You're still muted, by the way.
Oh, sorry. That was Steve talking. I'm just like, and Steve's talking. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
It sucks because I mean, like, I get that he felt like he was having best of intentions. This is a really difficult thing to be in the middle of right now, and
at least with Henry, the particular thing about him is apparently like his family is like there. That's at least what he said. Like, he has like blood relation in country. Right. He just didn't know what was going on with that, which is why I tell anybody that if you are of the persuasion that you want to go there and you feel for whatever reason that cause is worth it or whatever, do not join the foreign legions. Do not join the Ukrainian National Guard. There's independent anarchist brigades that don't require a contract and won't force you to do anything. And there's no political baggage, let's put it that, with those groups. Those people are cool. So if you want to, go there. But like, you know, don't join up with the Foreign Legion. Don't join up with the Ukrainian National Guard. Like, there's much better people trying to help over there in much better ways than the Ukrainian government.
Yeah, I would think that, you know, anybody who is going to invest enough energy and their life force into doing that, that they should be educating themselves to the dangers of trusting systems in place in that fucking completely corrupted fucking place. You know what I mean? Like, it's just as fucked up as our country. You know what I mean? So why would you treat it any differently? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of people just aren't, because they aren't aware of the area. They aren't aware of like what the Ukrainian government has been up to for the last 10 years, you know? Like, it's not, this is an Eastern European country with a bunch of oligarchs and corruption and crime families and far-right militias and all sorts of just layers upon layers of different forms of awful shit.
Yes.
And,
much like the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why I said, like, when I look at that situation, the only people I support in that are the volunteer anarchist militias, because
absolutely.
they've been principled. They, you know, for the last 8 years, they've been fighting the Ukrainian government, the Russian government, and the neo-Nazis in that country. So it's like, you cannot look at them and be like, oh, they have negative intentions. Like, no, they're like, fuck all these people.
Yeah.
You know, so
they're not phoning it in. They're fucking, they're bringing it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Do you see Lady Alex's comment?
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Lady Alex said, I'm a fucking Jew and all my peeps are from Ukraine and Russia. And guess what? I'm against Israel government, pro-Palestine, and against all wars, against imperialism worldwide. Absolutely. I fucking right there. And that's what I think is missed, is that just because you do believe you do carry a gun doesn't mean that you're pro-war. It doesn't mean that that's what you want that for. You know, that is the confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't define your intention of using it. You know what I mean? And so I think that people automatically take that and think of war, but then they are okay with the video game. So, like, you know,
that's why I draw a direct line between the concept of me having the means to protect myself, and one of the main things I want to protect myself from are the governments that are participating in imperialism and war across the entire country. So that's like one of the main reasons that I view that. And obviously, you know, my favorite Karl Marx quote of anyone who tries to disarm the workers should be resisted with force if necessary, because it's that thing of like the groups that we're afraid of and the groups that we oppose are the groups that are doing this. It's not, you know, it's a direct through line logically between those two things.
Yeah, those two things are not mutually exclusive. That's funny that people see the gun and they're like, oh, well, you're for war. Like, no, dude.
Yeah, also a thing where like people are like, they're revolutionary anarchists, so they're pro-war, and it's like them.
Well, and then like there'll be the opposite. Like, it's like, if you don't have a gun, you can have no guns and still be pro-war and still want to be the one that is like giving the command down.
There's a shocking amount of people right now that are exactly like that. As people like Moms Demand Action, the big, you know, Bloomberg, what's his name? Is it he ran for president, fucking
Michael Bloomberg?
I guess that is Bloomberg. Sorry, I'm just blanked on his name.
Yeah, you were right.
The Bloomberg funded gun control lobby is posting stuff about arming Ukraine. It's like, because it's so cool when you give governments guns, but people can't have them. You know, murdering war criminals should give all the weapons in the world, but the people, not the people.
Not so much.
All right, I want to play a little bit more of this because he asked a question directly about Boogaloo boys in here.
You know,
it's okay. It's okay. because I think that we're going to get some understanding out of the discomfort that we're having. Okay. So I think we're going to get some understanding because we're going to connect with Richard and we're going to make that happen. Like we're just going to make that, we're going to make sure that Richie, has the opportunity to actually talk through it and understand it, because that's what we got to do, right? Help people understand us. I know. I don't want to crush any of your dreams. I'm sorry.
I agree with what Jimmy says all the time is I don't mind random idiots talking shit about me, but it hurts when I see people I like.
I know. It hurts. I get it.
It's like when Max Blumenthal originally wrote the article being like, you should never work with people like Magnus, but then he showed up in my anti-war march and now he doesn't mind me. So it's like, I won on that one eventually, but it was like, damn, this sucks.
Well, integrity always wins.
How many people here in our chat think that we have enough of, love that we can get Richie to understand the side of it? Because he's asking questions, and I don't think he's trying to be offensive.
Yeah,
I don't think he's trying to be. So let's, I just want to. I know. Yep. I love you. I'm not trying to torture you. I promise.
Dude, of course it's a setup. Of course it's a setup. Of course you're a cannon fodder. They wouldn't be asking you to come in the first place if they didn't need cannon fodder. My goodness. My goodness. That is terrible. That is terrible. And the thing is, there are a lot of people saying this video is not true. So take it with a pinch of salt. If it's not true, this guy must be a very good actor. If it's not true, I want to show you something over here, just to give you both sides of the story, right? So we can be objective. So this is posted on Twitter from Cassie Dillon, and she says that the video statement just provided to me by an American working with the Georgian Legion in Ukraine. So that's the Legion that this guy was mentioning. He says the recent viral video about the American volunteers getting their passports cut up. They mean this video, right? Is false. They say it's false, and that they were kicked out for failing the vetting process. 2 parts. So let's take a look at this video, right? Shall we?
Hello, Harrison Josephowitz here, Georgian Legion here. What we can say is whatever may or may not be circling right now from Henry Locke, it is completely false. No threat ever was made by the Georgian Legions as us, as a humanitarian organization working directly with the Georgian Legion, was ever threatened. No Georgian Legion ever threatened us with a rifle or anything of that nature. The leader of the Georgian Legion, Mamuka, I had a conversation with him. I expressed my concerns for my humanitarian organization, that the military base that we were using, that they offered to us, was not the best place to have a humanitarian non-combat element. Now, yes, there's a part of my organization that we can get into contact with direct action groups if that's what they want to do. So with that being said, we came to the agreement that it was best for both of us for us to move off the Georgian Legion military base. With that being said, we still have a very, very professional relationship with the Georgian Legion. We have plenty of shipments of everything that they've ever needed coming in. I can't give specifics for OPSEC, but yes, we do have, we're still giving them loads and loads of gear, armor, medical supplies, everything. The only slightly bit of truth to it was a Georgian Legion contract of 3 months, and that was it. It's no big deal, but at the end of the day, it really makes things look bad here, because we have a vetting process, and himself, Henry Locke, and another individual, they did not pass our vetting process. And this is in direct retaliation to them being rejected through our vetting process. And that is exactly why we have a vetting process, to stop this or those kind of mindset people from getting here, from helping us out.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't believe a word you just said. I don't believe a word that this second guy just said. I think, again, my hunch, this is just my hunch, The first guy was telling the truth. if that guy turns out to be a liar, what a good actor. Give him an Oscar. I'm going to tell you something very simply. What the first guy was describing is exactly what you would get when you go and you jump into a situation like that.
Hello, Harrison, just suffered.
That is war. When you are going to join as a foreign mercenary, you're going to get treated like shit. You think that they're going to kit you out the same way they kit the National Guard in Ukraine? You are high. You are high. You're not the priority. You're cannon fodder. That's exactly why they're sending you on the suicide mission, because they need you to go do it for them. Of course, they're not going to give you any kit. You're just going to end up getting killed. You don't know the terrain. You don't speak the language. You have no fucking clue what you're doing. You're going to get killed, and they're going to waste all that gear on you. I mean, look how this guy got spooked. He's not fit to fight war. Again, that's not a good thing. No one should be, forced to fight a war or be in such a place anyway. But my point is that it's a very, very tough and awful job. And especially just look at the La Légion étrangère, the French Foreign Legion. That's notorious for treating the people who join like shit. Notorious. Now, I want to show you something else over here, because this seems to further corroborate the story that the first guy was telling the truth. So this is from the Columbus Dispatch. Shall we take a look? Now, the headline reads, Central Ohio man among Americans volunteering to join Ukraine's International Legion. I love the editor's note. Take a look. And say, this story has been revised to reflect that Henry Hooft previously used the name Henry Locke and has been associated with the far-right group known as the Boogaloo Boys in the past. Not exactly familiar with what that is, but I'm not surprised that someone who's in the far right is going off to join, to fight Russians along with groups like the Azov Battalion. Big surprise, right? Wow. So when Henry Hooft found out on February 26th that the Ukrainian government had formed a volunteer military unit for foreign fighters to join the war against Russia, the former infantryman in the U.S. Army applied right away. Hooft, a 28-year-old Frazeysburg resident, is among the 16,000 foreigners who, according to Ukrainian President Zelensky, have signed up for the newly established International Legion of Territorial Defense of Ukraine. Despite safety risks and legal uncertainties, more than 3,000 U.S. citizens have reportedly applied, with hundreds already arriving in Ukraine. Submitting a passport copy and proof of military experience is all it takes for American citizens to join the newly established regiment. Hooft turned in his materials at the Embassy of Ukraine in Washington, D.C., and booked a flight to Poland the same day. Hooft, who said he is half Ukrainian on his father's side, has identified himself as a member of the Boogaloo Boys, which has been characterized as a far-right extremist group. Operating under the alias Henry Locke, the man was among a team of Ohio Boogaloo members who were at a Black Lives Matter protest carrying AK-47s, AR-15s, and extra magazines last year.
Holy shit, some context needed right there. Holy fuck.
I'm struggling to understand why you would show up to a protest against racism with a machine gun. I'm sorry. Maybe it's because I'm a European. I don't get it. That's just, I don't know what why you would do that. He said that he distanced himself from the far-right group after it got all crazy. However, among the 7 people with whom he's traveling to Ukraine is Mike Dunn, the former leader of the Last Sons of Liberty, a faction of the Boogaloo Boys. Dunn could not be reached for comment. The group believes it is doing the right thing to take part in the war in Ukraine, even as the U.S. government is discouraging Americans from going over. Oh, well, I can tell you one thing. The British government is encouraging people to go over. I played you the clip of Liz Truss, who's the British Foreign Secretary, and she sat there very smugly in the BBC studios, I believe it was, and she very clearly said that the UK government, the British government, encourages people to go fight in Ukraine. Yeah. American volunteers like Hooft are entering a war zone amid dubious legal grounds and discouragement from their own government. While several European nations have encouraged volunteers to sign up for the Legion, the US government has been reluctant to give its approval. Ukrainians have shown their courage and they are calling on every resource and lever they have to defend themselves. We applaud their bravery, a spokesperson for the U.S. Department of State said in an email. However, our travel advisory remains. U.S. citizens should not travel to Ukraine, and those in Ukraine should depart immediately if it is safe to do so using commercial or other privately available options for ground transportation. Making the matter even worse, even more complicated, are the legal ambiguities that come with working for a foreign armed force. So it is not a crime under U.S. law for an individual to go abroad for the purpose of enlisting in a foreign army. At the same time, a violation of the law may occur if someone has been recruited or hired in the U.S., according to the State Department website. On March 2nd, Hooft got a call from an FBI agent advising him against traveling to Ukraine. Quote, he told me that I in no way have the support of the U.S. government when I'm over there, and if I get in any trouble, I need to just call the embassy. I get it. They don't want to be implicated if Russia harms any of us. They don't want to escalate to the conflict by saying that they're sending American soldiers over. Meanwhile, Russian officials have said that all foreign mercenaries will not be afforded the rights given to lawful combatants according to international humanitarian law and would face criminal charges or worse if captured in Ukraine. Two things. Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, has clearly said that if British soldiers go to fight in Ukraine, they will be court-martialed, which is, very obvious. It's like you're defecting, you're going, AWOL, you're betraying your service to your country. So I mean, yeah, of course. So even though the British are encouraging people to go there, if you're a soldier, you can't do that. You'll be court-martialed. I don't know. I'm assuming if you're in active duty or in any way in National Guard, that you would also be court-martialed. I can't imagine that any country would allow that. But in this capacity, the guy is former military. That's what they're saying. So perhaps again, that's a different case. But when they say here that that Russia says that foreign mercenaries will not be afforded the rights under international, yeah, I mean, obviously, you are not a civilian. You're not an armed. You're not enemy soldier, uniformed soldier. You're a mercenary. I really don't think the Geneva Convention is going to help you, Betty. I still don't think it's okay to abuse prisoners of war. I don't. Even if they're mercenaries, I don't think you should execute them or torture them, obviously, or mistreat them. But I'm saying under international law, I'm pretty sure the Geneva Convention does not make exceptions for mercenaries. Correct me if I'm wrong. At best, they can expect to be prosecuted as criminals, the Russian Defense Ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov told Russia's state-owned news agency. We are urging all foreign citizens who may have plans to go and fight for Kiev's nationalist regime to think a dozen times before getting on the way. I think that this is terrible, because the NATO is basically fighting Russia down to the last Ukrainian. And it really shows you again that they've always been using the Ukrainians as pawns. They don't care about them. They don't care about them one bit. They're just, throwing some weapons in their face, say, go fight. And, here, have some foreign mercenaries, whatever. Dude, this guy, I'm telling you, that is what happens when you come as a mercenary. That is what is going to happen. You are going to get treated like shit. You are not going to be kitted out or treated as an equal to the people in the National Guard, even though they're neo-Nazis. You're going to be sent on these suicide missions because that's what you're there for. And these guys who thought that it's going to be some walk in the park, it's some Call of Duty game. I mean, you're in for a surprise. You're in for a big surprise. And I'm not laughing at anyone. I don't think this is funny. I think it's actually quite tragic. But the fact that they're coming out to discredit this, because a lot of people want to discredit this video over here. And again, please show me, a substantive evidence that it's wrong. I'm this in the article, I think the guy's telling the truth. The other video where they're basically saying that he's a liar. I don't know. I think that's the kind of thing you would do when you want mercenaries to keep coming to Ukraine and you're trying to do damage control because one of these guys blew the whistle or blew the, let's say, the lid off, and is telling people what the reality is. Because they make it seem like the Russians are stupid, like, oh, the Russians are bogged down, they can't advance, come as a foreign mercenary, you're doing the world a service, you're saving democracy, all this propaganda bullshit, and then when you get there, this is what happens. War is awful. War is terrible. And, the people who've been strutting around with their machine guns, intimidating, anti-racist protesters, who've been intimidating Iraqis, intimidating Afghans, shooting at them, slaughtering them. You're in for a big fucking surprise with the Russians. This is a conventional army. It's not guerrilla warfare. And already the US and UK got their fucking asses. They wiped the floor with them, the Taliban. They got their asses handed to them in Iraq, in Afghanistan. They could not win. That's not their terrain. And you think that the Russians, which have more nukes than anyone, have the best surface-to-air missiles, best rockets, one of the best armies in the world. Do you think that, you're nuts? Even if they did kit you out properly, let's imagine.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a lot to unpack there, but I want you to really be able to debunk what he's saying and correct the record.
We never
because
showed
it's
up
important.
It's important. We never showed up with guns to intimidate anyone. We were there in support, and more often than not, when we did show up, we were explicitly invited to be security because people show up to these events and try to run people over with fucking cars and do all sorts of crazy things. And you can be as anti-violent as you want, but when there's a Suburban flying over a curb towards you and all your friends, you're gonna want to hope that someone like me's there. Just saying,
Yeah.
So that's how that went more often than not. And really the only times we got invited was places where it had gotten bad, where other people were showing up with guns to intimidate protesters. So that's not true at all. No one I know personally, even the people that aren't as pro BLM, that messaging and everything, whatever, just show up to dick wave and intimidate, piss off people. That that's just mixing up at everything. And it's so funny that it's still we've gone back through this loop because it started, the media all called us far right extremists.
Mm-hmm.
And then over a year, they kind of got with the fucking message of oh wait, for a far right extremist group, there sure is a lot of gay and black people, and a lot of them are quoting Karl Marx and Emma Goldman, and it's kind of weird, and they finally got with the message, but then we were forgotten about and we weren't hot or whatever. And now all these same journals are coming back and they're like, oh, boy, I have to have the opinion on the Boogaloo boys. Let's just Google the first thing. Up, far right, boom. And then just repeat that or whatever. And it's bullshit. It's never been what it's about. It never involved anything about that at all. And our actions and the type of people who affiliate and associate with us are polar opposite. Even Mike Dunn, the video clip you showed was them marching with BLM 757 in Virginia, and the sign in the background of the clip he used said Breonna Taylor and Duncan Lemp. So it's far right group marching in support of the murder of a black woman. What? It doesn't make any sense.
The two things don't add up. Absolutely.
And I think that's what's important, though, is correcting the record, because obviously it's easy for people to slip into just the first thing that they Google search is oh, wait, they're a far right militia. You know what I mean? And then you immediately, the gun and that, and then people just completely it's written in stone.
I think that's what it is. The American, just the world itself has the memory of a fucking gnat.
Yeah,
so,
and that's the thing too. Is all of the experts that actually know what they're talking about and aren't 10K follower shit libs that do nothing but dox people on Twitter. The actual experts all are very clear on what we are. The one I always point to, I hate her guts, but she at least is honest about us, is JJ McNabb, who has done the most coverage on us and reporting on us. And she's verified, works at George Washington University as an extremist expert. And every single one of her threads she ever does on us, she has to explain these to these confused people that have never heard anything but the media of yes, I followed these guys for a long time. They're anti-police and they're more libertarian oriented, and they're not a bunch of far right neo-Nazis. And they're like, are you sure? And it's yeah, because I'm a fucking
my brain won't let me understand that. I can't. I see machine gun. Confused.
Yeah, and even the Department of Homeland Security infamously put out a tweet calling us radical anarchists that are not far right nor far left.
Yes.
So like the Department of Homeland Security itself is more honest of all fucking people
Right.
about this situation.
Who would have thunk the DOJ would get it correct? Like, what the fuck?
And it just shows that this just shows right here why we have to continue to have the conversations and not, not let somebody, like if we see somebody misreporting something, we need to call it out and we need to, you know what I mean? And the record needs to be corrected because people respect Richie, right? Like they really respect him and they're going to listen to him. And if he's saying things that are false, that are not true, I felt like it was really important for you to be able to clarify that, in your own words.
At
like,
least,
like
At
let's
least put more clarity on the topic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because that's just that's just the thing about all of that. And to answer somebody asked the question of what the core philosophy of the movement is. It is just anti-authoritarianism, and it's very non-specific, very decentralized anti-authoritarianism. That's why I compare it very close to Anonymous, because Anonymous was the same thing of like people are like, what Anonymous are about, and like it's like, oh, we just hate authority. And it's like, well, are you this or are you that? And it's like, yeah, no, yeah, kind of. Like, there was far left like communists and everything in Anonymous, and there was also like regular people, and there was also idiots that were spamming epilepsy pages with strobe lights. Like, that was all going on at the same time, and it's very
ambiguity and chaos. That's all the best movements that last the longest. That's what they're full of. Because anything else, any predictable fucking behavior by anybody will be co-opted eventually. So
and that's the whole reason you keep it decentralized, at least, is so you don't have to worry about leaders, the worst thing in the world, in my opinion. But it is very just plain simple anti-authoritarianism, and whatever issue you think on. Usually, if you ask one of us, even though we're very politically diverse, we oppose the government on it. So whether it be the police, we are anti-police. Whether it be war, we do not support the war.
There's certain things that are very hard lines that you can say as Boogaloo Boys, we are this, but everything else, it's they're like everyone wants a neat little fucking category. There's not a neat little fucking category.
Like I said, there's people in the movement that are much more to the right to me, and they could almost be described as like traditional conservatives. But then there's also people that are way to the left of me in this fucking movement that are explicit like anarcho-communists and shit. Right. And we all just join together and work together explicitly on this one same message of we just do not like the government. We think the government is wrong. Some of us don't like all governments. Some of us just don't like this government. But that's the core message of it. It's very plain and simple.
You could choose which government you hate. It's fine.
It's kind of like the whole Antifa, anti-fascist, movement.
It's the same thing. Like, there's people in Antifa that are literally like Joe Biden voting liberals, and then there's also people that are like radical insurrectionary anarchists. It's the same thing with all of these decentralized groups, and people do not understand them. The conservatives do not understand anti-fascist. Nobody understands Anonymous, and the left does not understand the Boog. But like we're all made
and
out
then
of the
people
same
get you
general
confused, right? Like then there's the
all...
Proud Boys that people conflate the two of you guys together, and they're just there's just people are just.
Like I said, we get into fist fights with Proud Boys. We a lot of us are not cool with them, so it's like.
I don't like that they stole the bumblebees. I mean, come on.
No,
like,
black
I love
black
bumblebees.
yellow is such a cool color. And I guess she asked another. So the people are just popping in questions. So we're not a gendered thing. The boy is BOI. It's not BOY, and it's intentionally like it's just a stupid kind of whatever. It's not a gendered thing. We're not like the Proud Boys where we don't allow women to join us or anything stupid like that. Right. So we don't care what your gender, your identity, your sexuality is. Anybody's welcome to label. And then someone else, let me scroll up in the chat.
Prop said, so if people fear the Boogaloo Boys, then do they just stay home during a protest? Serious question. I feel the guns keep a lot of people away.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like we haven't been, there's been moments where we fucked up, but usually like a lot of us will show up to events unarmed just as people that are interested in this event. Like obviously like I show up to anti-war stuff, I'm not bringing a fucking gun. Usually the guns come out when they're explicitly requested because there has been violence from outside groups or anything like that, and the people there feel the need to be safe. So that's the main thing. And obviously, unless it's like we're going to like a pro like Second Amendment gun
You don't go
rights,
to Starbucks with your gun on your back.
no.
There
I
was
mean,
like this guy that like
power to people that want to do that, but that's just not my speed, you know. But that's the thing
Yeah.
is like
you're not all the same. You're not a cookie cutter.
rarely if ever were we trying to show up just like without anybody knowing we were there or who we were or whatever. We were always trying to contact because infamously a bunch of us reached out to, if people remember what happened at in Minnesota, not Minneapolis, I forget, it's something park, but it was the taser cop protest. If you remember that. But
so
they were protesting outside the courthouse, and we reached out because there was Black Panthers and stuff like there, and said, "Do you guys want our help? We'll show up." And they told us no, so we didn't, because it was that simple. Like we don't feel like that's. They told us we don't feel like that's necessary. You guys don't have to show up and do that. So it's like, all right, we didn't do it. To where in Louisville at the year anniversary of the Breonna Taylor March, we were explicitly asked by the people who have been running, you know, the event with Breonna Taylor's mother and fucking Kenneth Walker and everything, of like, yo, the cops are out of control here. They don't respect us unless we show up with guns. Like, we'll take any help we get. And at that event, you had Black Panthers, you had NFAC, you had us, and you even had some local 3%ers that were cool with the BLM movement that were like there in support of them. And that's why I love Louisville so much, is because like, and I think it's why the media stopped talking about Breonna Taylor and avoid talking about Louisville whatsoever, is they really had that kind of thing of like the city community, like these are our people. This is what we stand for. If you're with us, you're with us, and we're not going to do this idiotic gatekeeping bullshit. Like if you walk down here and you say justice for Breonna Taylor, I don't care what the hell you are. Like, let's go. You know, so like, and that's why we really love it down there, really welcome down there. But yeah, definitely not trying to just like wander to like a random BLM like fucking protest with a gun and be like, hi guys.
You're not enforcing yourself on them. You know, like you're not doing what the cops are doing. You're doing, you know, you're doing it a different way when you're being invited in.
If we want to do something, we'll do our own event. You know, whatever. We've done that plenty. Like we did an event in Ohio for Alexander Rios, which was a man that was killed in fucking jail by the police. That was just us. We just did that. Like 50 of us showed up in just to the small town in Ohio and stood around their courthouse and did our thing, our kind of way, and no one else was there. But if there was another protest going on there and we wanted to show up to it and they're like, hey guys, no guns, I'm like, okay, you know, like that's fine. Like it's not like an utter absolute requirement. The same thing with like the Hawaiian shirts and the whole uniform and shit like that. Like everything has a time and place. You know, we're not married to this shit, and we'll wear it when we want to and when we feel comfortable, and we won't if we don't feel like it, you know?
Damn, I was hoping the Tommy Bahama was like a prerequisite. You had to bring your best shit, you know?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is Jilly points out there of like the interactions, because that's the main thing they notice in Louisville, the interactions between the police in an armed group and the police in an unarmed group are so dramatically different. Oh, yeah. Because more often or not, for one, they're fucking cowards. Like they want to beat up on some skinny 16-year-old hippie girl with a sign. Mm-hmm. And they run into somebody that's, you know, on their level, maybe even above their level. And
that knows, like, I know what you're about. Like, I see you right now. You know what I mean? Like, I see you with yours, and I have mine too.
I recognize that.
And then it's that mutually assured destruction kind of shit. And more often than not, they let us go. And that's what happened in Louisville that night after the Breonna Taylor thing, where there was like 100 riot cops for maybe 40 like protesters or something on the side of the road. Wow. But there was people that were armed there. So the riot cops just kept telling us to leave, and we didn't leave. And eventually they were like, you know, they started like kind of surrounding us and everything. And then we like walked out. So like I'm almost 1,000% confident, and the people agree that were there, that were running it, is that if we weren't there, they would have just arrested and beat the shit out of all those people.
Right. Oh, definitely.
But even dramatically outnumbered, they were like, well, we don't want to cause a beef. So like, you know.
So I think that where people are getting confused with this is that it's like, well, you know, like Prop is saying that, you know, he loves shooting, but he doesn't want to bring a gun to a protest and risk the police shooting us or shooting someone else, right? Like so you bring up, like if you have a gun, you're more likely to get shot or whatever, that whole like narrative that you always hear, which is very true,
I absolutely,
right? But
I absolutely disagree with that for that reason, though. Is for one thing, it's America. If you're going to a protest or something like that, somebody is concealed carrying a gun. I promise. I will be fucking amazed if you can go to any major event over 100 people and there's not somebody that's secretly armed.
Yeah.
That's one thing. It's just the United States that's how it goes here. But the other thing too is that's why we open carry is explicit like challenge of like, no, like we're here, you're not doing this, like. And a woman from Jacksonville, Florida did a great thing where she described the difference between Louisville and Jacksonville, because she was covering the Jacksonville BLM protests. And all of her stories were like, everybody's getting beat up, they're arrested, the cops are super aggressive, they're chasing people down, they're beating and whatever. Then she went to Louisville, and she actually described an exact scenario where the police were chasing this young black kid, and they were like with dogs and everything going after him, until he ran down Breeway into Breonna Taylor Square, where NFAC and we were and everything like that. And the cops stopped. And obviously, whatever minor insignificant shit they were chasing that poor kid over didn't matter that much anymore, And they were like, "All right, never mind." And things
because you don't even necessarily even have to have anything in the gun.
No, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, most
only
cops
the person that loaded it would know.
Yeah, most cops are cowards, and if it comes to a situation where they know there's going to be a fight, they don't want to be involved with it, whether that be more of the traditional kind of like anti-fascist stuff where they start seeing other people with riot shields. They're like, oh, hold on. They back up a little bit. It's the same thing with firearms. It's like when they show up with them, we show up with them, and everything shows up more chill. And that applies doubly so to the cowards that would show up to these events to hurt peaceful protesters that aren't police officers.
Right.
That's even more so. Those people mellow way the hell out. When it's not, because I remember I showed up. Well, we got close friends with everybody in Lansing, in the local anti-fascists in Lansing, and they were having a big problem with Proud Boys pushing them around and fucking with them. And these people, most of these people are really young, like, really, really young, really small girls. And they have these big, like, biker dude Trump supporter motherfuckers just pushing them around and getting all physical and everything. So they asked us, and that was actually like a trust building moment with them. Like, can you show up and like do something about this? So we showed up about 10 deep with long guns, and damn, did all those men become real polite all of a sudden and started having very positive and productive conversations when, like, they got their vibe checked a little bit. So it's like, that's kind of the mentality behind it.
There has to be a social like barometer in those kinds of situations. Everybody is so passionate about how they feel about things. You know what I mean? It's like, of course, there's going to be fucking arguments and fights and things. And it's like, I don't know. I think it's a noble effort to try to protect the majority.
Obviously, like,
intention matters.
Is everything, man.
But intention matters.
Yeah, people try to compare it to the cops a lot, but I do see it like very different because our whole thing there actually is to de-escalate things, because we don't want people fist fighting or anything like that. My good friend who's a Louisville, Boog activist, posted a video to Twitter of these two drunk guys that showed up to a protest and were trying to start a fight. And he literally just walked up to him. And he's like, "You're not doing that here." And they saw the shotgun he had around his thing, and they turned around and they left. Yeah. To where if they wouldn't have seen that, like, there would have been fist fighting. And if it was a police officer that did that, they'd probably shoot those two drunk guys. Oh, so it's like, that's kind of thing. But to answer thing,
I've seen the cops just do the craziest shit. Like, again, at a Grateful Dead show in 1994 in fucking Orlando, there's kids, like young kids that were locals from Orlando area, all showed up on Grateful Dead lot to party and rage because the Dead was in town for 3 days. So on the first day, they come in there and they're throwing beer bottles at cops. So the cops are firing tear gas at them. The tear gas is wafting over the top of the fucking stadium into the bleachers while the band is playing and shit. It's just like complete chaos in the middle of a fucking Grateful Dead show. Like, for no other reason than just like fucking aggressive police and fucking drunk people.
Yeah.
You know.
Because cops will go 0 to 100 immediately.
Oh yeah, dude. They just hit it 100 miles an hour, just like no thought of repercussions or wind or.
I grew up in a military household
when there's fucking 50,000 people inside a fucking closed stadium. You know, no, it's fine. Just go ahead.
I grew up in as a military brat,
Yeah.
so
To
I know
answer-
that it is quick. It can
Yeah.
happen, like, and suddenly getting your, being a kid and getting your ass beat suddenly. Yeah, it happens really fucking quick. It escalates quick, and when you can't fight back and you have no fucking choice, like people, that's when people do extreme things.
Yeah. And to answer the question on there of we like I said, I answered before. We do go to things if we don't bring guns, and we do mutual aid. 100% of Unholy Rome, local Detroit guy, big popular guy on Twitter. Like me and my buddies will usually go out with his Tour of the Poor and help him out. And we're always trying to do something. It's very similar to just anti-fascist organizations. It's just a different kind of political bent and circle. And
I like Rome.
Yeah,
He's hilarious. And shout out to him and JV, because they're adorable together when they do their streams.
That might be the best.
Oh my God.
The best duo in indie media right now. I don't know, man.
They're freaking. They're dynamic. Like Jay with.
If you want your bad news to make you laugh, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just fucking watch it.
I love those guys.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's just kind of the thought process behind it. It's firearms are definitely a big part of it. That's kind of a thing that separates us, as a lot of us are just like giant gun nerds, but it's not like the utter in total required, thing. So
right on.
It's not my entire personality. I
know, right? It's like, is it
I
just?
totally get the nerdy aspect of it. Like whatever it is that you're into, I'm into music and shit, and I nerd out on gear and stuff and people and whatever, you know what I mean? Like deeply. So
I know
that
I see in the chat.
Gun paraphernalia is the same.
That's fine propaganda. I can pull up over 20 years of Alabama police reports of black people getting into gunfights with the Ku Klux Klan because the police wouldn't protect them, and that's all on government documents, and pulling shotguns on Klan members when they show up to their house to try to lynch them. And yeah, there's a whole long story of black armed resistance, and they don't like talking about it because it makes it uncomfortable. That's why they want to take away fucking. Sorry, I'm so tired because this is my one day off of work that I've had in like a month. But
yeah, my brain is tired today too. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so the whole thing about trying to take away Harriet Tubman's guns and everything like that, like she wasn't shooting at slave catchers and shit like that. Like there's long history of this.
I think people are intimidated by the gun because it's big, they're heavy, they're bulky, they don't understand them. Like I've shot like shotguns and handguns, but I haven't held a semi-automatic or an automatic weapon or done anything like that. And I think that there's a lot of it is the education aspect of it, of someone. Yes, it happens. Like I think the size of it also intimidates people. Why are we okay with a bunch of cops with a handgun on their hip? And they can just open fire and do the things that, but people that have an open carry, right? Like you have, like, it's not like people are just going in a grocery store and buying a freaking long gun and going around and walking around with it like it's a squirt gun, right?
It's
definitely
you're also
educated with it.
Yeah, there's definitely also just like an element of people not realizing that it's just kind of something they have to accept because it's never going to go away. And what are you going to do with that reality? Because I bring it up all the time, but I'm really involved in the 3D printing community. We have gotten to the point where people can make their own guns in their home. And actually it's gone farther behind that to where Control Pew announced last night in a video that it is now possible to make a homemade rocket launcher using a 3D printer. So like Cody Wilson, who was the guy who developed the first 3D printed firearm, had a really great quote, and I think it's very perfect. But you can adjust your politics to reality, but reality will not adjust to your politics, to the point where like we are, even people point to Europeans and stuff like that. There's a big thing of like Europeans don't get guns. You can Google like any European country, England, Germany, France, anything like that, you will find articles about how there's massive explosions of 3D printed firearms in their country, and they have no idea what to do about it. So even Europe is like losing that argument, and it's only going to increase. And obviously, like, you have examples of the Burmese rebels in Myanmar, like 3D printing guns up in the jungle to fight the government. So it's like, that's where we're at now. You can not like them, you can be uncomfortable with them, but you can't do anything about it. So you're gonna have to figure out how you feel about them, acknowledging that they're not going to go away. They're actually proliferating in mass and becoming more accessible to people more often, and more politically diverse groups are arming themselves now. So it's like, how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
It
I
doesn't
agree
matter
that-
how you feel about it. I'm sorry. Like,
I agree. I mean, it's
I think-
kind of irrelevant how we feel about it, because it is happening. It's going to continue to happen, and nothing any of us are going to do is going to
somebody
Necessity.
somebody can go online and buy a $300 3D printer and a $200 $20 set of plastic and make a gun. So it's like, and in fact, there was a pretty big news story, I think it was like 6 months ago, of they busted like these 3 black guys in Detroit that were running like a homemade firearm factory out of just an abandoned building.
Yeah,
so
man.
it's like, that's where we're at.
That is necessity is the mother of invention.
My stepdad does his own.
people
My
will
stepdad does his
adapt.
own bullets. Like, I have.
Oh yeah.
And
Most
I
people do.
didn't grow up with him like with guns and stuff like that. Like, that wasn't a normal thing. But he became a magistrate, and when he became a magistrate, he needed to have concealed carry to protect himself against the people that he was, magistrating.
Yeah, and that's just
I
the
have a
thing
very
too, is so,
different different view of things than him, but
right, and that just goes on like down to like, so if we accept the reality that like almost anybody can get a firearm anywhere in the world now, almost on demand, who do you want to have those? Do you only want the government and like the far right groups and everything to have these? Or do you want gay people and black people and trans people and to also have these? So that's kind of my feeling and my argument on it. And I guess to answer Jilly, the difference is just because libertarianism is a very specific ideology, and we do have libertarians in the movement, but it's just like, that's not all of it, because there's also people that are, like I said, more left and more right. Definitely a lot of people come from like the libertarianism camp, and a lot of people are even personally involved in the party or whatever, but it's not like, A to B. So it's just very similar to like how a lot of people in anti-fascist groups might be part of the DSA, but they're like very different things,
Yeah, it's no, I think these are really good questions too, because I think that the more that that people kind of see, like, all right, well, you're compared to this, is this the same as this? And the more that like it's broader. Like, that's the thing, is that people try to, like, a lot of times people try to narrow things down to be like something very specific, where it's easy for them to say, no, this means this, but it's not. It's a broad thing.
Yeah, like Assange activism is another like great thing, to where you have people like Misty and Cassandra Fairbanks both involved in that. It's like, well, who are Assange activists? And it's like, like it's you can't make it all clean and neat for people,
Yeah. And it's like, we're Assange activists, you know what I mean? We're constantly trying to push that. And that's the thing. Everybody has their own things. You can't just like, well, you're in this group, so you go stand over there.
Yeah.
So I can get this all separated in my mind.
And Jilly wants to remind us again that 2005 Supreme Court ruled police have no obligation to protect us. Keep that in mind.
And increasingly, you're getting places where it is illegal to film them. Louisville, because of the BLM protests, even passed a law. Well, I don't know if they ever passed it, but at least still trying to pass a law that makes it illegal to criticize the police. And I have friends that have gotten visited for just calling their local government office and criticizing the police, and they've gotten knocks on their doors over it and threatened over it. So it's like, yeah, cops aren't your friends. That's one of the main things, because someone else acted in there of like one of our main principles. We are very, very anti-police. Some of us aren't like full ACAB type people, but very fundamentally anti-police for that reason. Because even if you look at it for there's kind of like big division in the gun community over this, but I fall definitely on one side of it. Of you know, a lot of these conservatives have the "don't tread on me, come and take it" kind of mentality, and a lot of people thankfully are waking up of like, well, who's going to come and take it? The cops. So it's like,
Right.
you know, and funny enough, some of the most like the largest gun control kind of advocacy groups are police departments. You can look at what almost killed the Texas open carry bill wasn't Moms Demand Action or Gifford's gun control group or the Democratic Party. No, it was the police unions.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, because they don't want you to be armed.
No.
And what do you?
They want exclusive right to bust into your home and shoot you in your bed.
Right.
And what about?
It just wouldn't be fair.
What about, you know, because then it's good. Now, what then the next thing that I know that, you know, just playing a little devil's advocate, you know, the next thing that people talk about then is like the school shootings. And to me, like they're focusing on the wrong thing if they're looking at the reaction of things instead of the preventative of things. Like people need to be educated and be smarter about what about the guns, about, you know, keeping them safe, keeping them away from children, keeping them, you know what I mean? Like, where's the responsibility for the person that, you know, has it?
Yeah, because that's the big thing is I always point to Switzerland, because Switzerland has very similar gun laws to the United States, and people don't know this. And they're very armed just as much. They don't have as much of the culture, kind of the gun culture we do, but you know, in terms of law and what you have to register and what you can own and everything like that, very similar to the United States. Switzerland doesn't have any mass shootings. Switzerland doesn't have any school shootings. So it's like you have to look at what's going on here, and definitely in the United States. I think a big
picture of it is.
I think a big problem with it is that guns are shown to be in our culture as a problem solver in a lot of ways. Where no, it's a tool. Tools have uses. Tools work some places, but it's not a problem solver. But definitely in our culture, and funny enough, the Hollywood, some of the biggest proponents of gun control, I feel like are most problematic of this. Is we look at every show, every movie, whatever, the gun is the problem solver. It's how you solve every issue. And it's like that doesn't come from the firearms community. That comes from the California liberals and the movies and the media and everything they put out. And then you have these
Hollywood, man. It's constant.
It's
constant in Hollywood.
Program, man. You know, DARPA started with them, and
like, yeah, because I mean, look at. I mean, you know, I'm a big hippie. Look at the solution to almost every problem in every major Hollywood blockbuster is violence. So
absolutely, always. It's either violence and sex, or sex and more violence and money, or drugs. You know, drugs can also be a vehicle, but you're gonna need some weaponry for that as well. And that's the mindset. You're just indoctrination, and I think
there goes the girlfriend.
Oh, hi, girlfriend. That was so cute.
Yeah, that's the thing is I just think we have deep cultural issues, and people keep trying to blame the tool. But I mean, I always point to the UK, to the fact that there's no floor to this logic, where they're trying to pass like a bill or something in the UK where you have to have an RFID chipped tracker in every single knife that's sold because they have such a problem with knife crime.
Yeah. So
it's like there's no floor to this logic. It is definitely a cultural issue because the UK doesn't have any guns really, but they have massive problems with stabbings everywhere.
Right.
There's a cultural issue there, and that's something that has to be addressed. It's not just the tool. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, as a society, we're very sick as a society, and we need to figure that out and stop looking at the reactionary causes of things. Like we're not proactive, we're not preventative. It's all reactionary, and it's. I mean, that's why I think like the only way that we're really going to move forward as a country without it completely just dismantling and becoming the utter chaos that they say it's going to be, because that's what they're manifesting. That's what the government wants. They want that. They want it to be complete and utter chaos so they can come in and control the masses. And we need to show them that we're not these wild, like, people that can't control themselves, that we don't need somebody with their thumb over us. Like, like, I'm a grown human being. I can manage just fine without the government telling me what to do. People can do that, and they're just, I don't know why they're so afraid of it. I don't understand.
Someone was saying citation on the knife crime thing. A quick Google search: for every 100,000 people in London, there was 169 stabbings.
Those are fucked up numbers, dog.
That's fucked up. No, that's way worse than gun crime. Actually, it's fucking horrible. And then,
said, say what? A rocket launcher from your 3D printer?
Yeah,
like people's moms and grandmoms stabbing people and shit.
Yeah,
like,
it's insane. It's insane
over
the
the top.
there. And to the point, like I said, and then the control argument has gotten to the point where you can look up the story. This is a real story. A Scottish man was arrested because he had a potato peeler in his pocket, and they called it a bladed weapon. They called it a bladed weapon. That's how bad it is. So there's no floor to this logic. You can keep going after the tools. If you don't address the issue, then you will get to the point where you are banning rocks. Yeah. And and people will still keep finding ways to kill each other.
That stick is entirely too pointy. Put it down.
Yes.
What the fuck?
That Shadowban said the Second Amendment is a privilege granted by a state. We have the right to bear regardless of a piece of paper.
Like I said, I'm not a constitutionalist at all. So like I don't when I say Second Amendment, that's just a go-to for like the rights of firearms. I don't believe in the Constitution at all. So it's like
we're in such a difficult, challenging place. It's like you got to reference wherever you can, but then clarify your references to that. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't really believe in this, but this basically outlines what I mean. Like, it's so confusing sometimes.
Yeah. Your rights do not come from a piece of paper, no matter how much like some conservatives.
I am born with my rights. Nobody takes my rights. Nobody gives me these rights.
How some lobbyists wrote it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing. Oh my gosh, I know.
And I go as far as to believe the Constitution was a counter-revolution and a successful one, but that's a whole other rabbit hole.
And Bella said there's no Second Amendment. It was meant to be a check on the tyrannical government.
Yeah. And that failed spectacularly. and now it's been mostly overturned in a lot of places. So it's that's a whole nother thing.
Well, come back next time and listen to Magnus talk about the Second Amendment.
Talk about how the Constitution was a coup, and the real founding fathers were the ones that were arguing not to sign the Constitution and almost rioted over its passing. That's when I say the founding fathers, I'm not talking about Washington or any of those powdered wig wearing motherfuckers and slave owners.
Oh my God, how creepy is it, right?
Nope.
And their teeth were not wood; they were slave teeth. They were people's teeth.
Like I said, George Mason famously, before refusing to sign the Constitution, made an argument that the inclusion of slave-owning states in the country would be a slow, rotten poison that would destroy us. And then he refused to sign the Constitution. George Mason was a badass. And also, George Mason was the one who wrote the Second Amendment. Fun facts of history.
That guy was on his game right there.
Yeah, and he has so many great quotes. When he was talking about the Senate, his famous quote about the Senate was, those federal men that you send to that federal town will become citizens of that federal town before they become a citizen of your state. And it was like, wasn't that the truth?
Oh, fully.
Wasn't that fucking salient point? I think his other one that I love so much is that that he called the Constitution was creating a limited aristocracy, and that in time it would wildly oscillate between a monarchy and an oligarchy, and then die in one of those places again.
Yeah, man.
Guy in 1782 called the fuck out of that one.
Yeah, that's fucking knowing what the fuck you're talking about right there.
We live it.
Amazing.
It's so insane. It's so insane.
And of course, that's a person who's obscured and that you'd never fucking hear about,
Yeah.
and for any reason.
You don't hear about Samuel Adams or any of the anti-federalists that were arguing against the Constitution, arguing against these like slave-owning rich dudes that wanted to create a limited aristocracy. No, they're buried in history.
Yeah, they didn't take away slavery. They just made it more inclusive. That's all they did. They were just like, no, we're going to include more people, and then it will look like it's gone.
Because somebody figured out,
and
one
people walked
night
right into it.
that criminal and slaves, same thing.
Yeah, and while I'm on the anti-federalists, because it's my favorite thing. Fun fact of history: the 4th of July was originally supposed to be Constitution Day, but because that didn't happen because 1,000 anti-federalists, including people like George Mason or whatever, showed up in Pennsylvania outside of the courthouse armed and threatened to riot if they did that. So instead, we got Independence Day. So, and I always make the remark of, if only those men knew that the 4th of July would just turn into essentially Constitution Day. Anyways, I wonder how they would feel about this country.
I'm sure they'd all be crying anyway, just to see how pathetic.
Yeah, no, screw solar. You want free, clean energy? Just hook up a battery to the anti-federalists' graves because they're spinning at Mach speed.
Perpetual motion machines.
Right, poor sons of bitches.
Damn.
But I do have to start getting going, so I don't know if anyone had like some last bit questions or anything.
There was something that people wanted to know about your if you can tell us if birds are real.
Birds are not real. They're government drones. And tornadoes are HARP.
Could you confirm that is a Boog point of view, that birds are not real?
Yes, birds are
collectively.
Besides crows are cool. Crows are anarchists.
Crows are cool.
Right on.
They are.
Did you hear that story out of Japan where the crows randomly decided that they're going to start dropping rocks on solar panels and they have no idea why, and they're only doing it on solar panels? And
oh, I didn't see that. That's great.
It's like weird
Little
anarcho-primitivist crows.
Yeah, starting over. They're like, "Fuck your technology."
Listen, it's just very simple of just anti-authority.
Yeah.
Very, very opposed to authority. It's not to the point to like of a lot of left people, or it's like anti-hierarchy. Yeah. We all kind of differ on that. Some of us are more radical like me on like anti-hierarchy. Some people are more like traditional, but it is literally just like plain old anti-authoritarianism. We do not like seeing strong guys beat up weak guys. It doesn't make us feel good, particularly when it comes from the government. So that's kind of just the core kind of foundational principle. And then it splits and sort of, divides in some places, but that is very like the general kind of thing. It's just anti-authoritarianism, anti-people in suits with guns telling other people what they have to do with their lives.
Yeah. I think that's awesome that you were able to clarify so much for us, because, and I think, well, we're gonna let's make a point to make sure that Richie sees, that understands a little bit more about what's being said, because the article he was reading from, obviously, it wasn't all factual about it, and a lot of assumption was in there, and a lot of stuff was filled in there that wasn't true. So yeah, let's make sure that
obviously like we were like a second point to it anyways. So
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think I just think it's good to have that clarification, though, directly from somebody that actually, and the people that are being spoken about. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that your friend is home safe, and we should remind people that you are a anti-war organizer too.
Yeah,
and you have a protest coming up, correct?
Tell us your stuff that you got going.
Yeah, so in April, you can go to the End the Damn Wars, which I have this big old banner. Ta-da! You can go to End the Damn Wars on Twitter, and we're going to be doing a pots and pans march. People might not know, but the Icelandic people overthrew their government after the banker bailouts by standing outside banging pots and pans for like a month or something straight until the government just quit. and then they made their own government. So like that's kind of like the spirit of like a peaceful demand that we end this.
So
And
it's kind of like the peaceful carnation revolution
That's
that
fine.
Choosy is always talking about.
Yeah, or the singing revolution. If people know about that, that's another great story there. If you haven't heard of the singing revolution, you should look it up. It's really cool
We're
stuff.
gonna have to do maybe you're gonna have to come back on. We're gonna have to do a thing on just like revolutions that are peaceful revolutions. What is our solutions here, guys? You know, like what's worked before. Let's take that and run with it, and let's do a revolution that way.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
gotta do that.
We're gonna be doing that, and obviously we're just promoting the other anti-war marches because where is the anti-war movement right now?
Right.
It's so bad that me and Steve Poikinen and Kimber and Misty and everything had to be drunk in a hotel room and be like, let's start an anti-war organization to like help the anti-war movement. So like, so yeah,
I know it's
you guys are great for it though. That's the perfect lineup right there to start with.
I know, absolutely. So yeah, we'll plan another time where we can let's go over revolutions. Let's do that. That's a great way.
Thanks for hanging out with
ways
us, man.
that we can do that.
That's definitely just to like conclude because especially seeing we've talked a lot about like guns and like firearms and everything like that. That's been my main message, and I even said this on Jimmy Dore. Is we are rapidly approaching the point where if we as a people do not come together and do something about this, we will run out of peaceful options, and irrational people are going to start taking over the conversation, and that's when everything goes sideways. So like that, my end goal, I do not fantasize about getting into a gunfight and dying and people, everything like, no, because that's the worst possible way this can go. And we can stop that. We just have to get serious and we have to get really active. And if we don't get serious and active about it, that's the point where people are going to start getting so desperate that you're going to see violence and bloodshed on a scale that's never been witnessed in human history. And we're getting to that point with food shortages and with people not having any access to like any form of meaningful fucking healthcare of either direction, whether free or private. It's all screwed regardless. Like you're seeing all over the place. This is starting to come across as apart from the seams. If we don't do something together, we will run out of peaceful options. And that's the worst possible thing that could happen. And that's always been my message. So I love all y'all. I hope we can do something about it before we all die in fire and brimstone. But I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. You are welcome to come back on anytime.
Yeah,
I absolutely am so glad that you were able to find the time to come and talk with us. And, with this coming up, I was just like, nope, this is it. I gotta grab Magnus because, cool. Like it's really important to come from somebody that I trust you in our community. So, like I respect that. And I think that you gave everybody some really good perspective on, what it is. And the fact that you can carry a gun and also be anti-war.
Yeah, and be able to articulate the fucking differences between it.
Yeah,
thanks,
absolutely.
man.
It's amazing.
All
right, we love you.
All right, peace out.
All right. Wow, that was really awesome. What did you guys think of that? Did you guys feel like you learned something from it? We might not all agree with what was said. And that's okay because we're not always going to agree on everything. But at the same time, I feel like I have a better understanding of what the Boogaloo movement is. I ask everybody to look at this from an open, an open mind and try to understand. I am personally not somebody that carries around a long gun or held one or have shot, anything like automatic in that way. So, but I'm not against the guns. So I'm kind of in a in-between place where most people don't feel comfortable being and sitting and holding that ground there. So what do you guys think of this?
I think it was cool to get a perspective from a dude who's inside the movement like that. And I also reckon that if you talk to the next guy who's in the same movement, he'd have a whole bunch of other different stuff to say. So it's all good. You know what I mean? But it's just like a starting point anyway. Talking to one person, you talk to more than one person and so on, you get a better reflection of the actual things going on inside a movement. But if it's like a movement that's all kind of decentralized, where, you know what I mean, it's you know, one person, everybody should have like a basic gist of a thing. Like, okay, this is the thing that we're about, and he said it, you know, anti-authoritarian. I'm sure that's the same thing the next guy's gonna say, you know what I mean? But as you expand that concept, you know, you can cover a lot of other ground, you know. So, but it's really cool to get a taste of you know, what he's talking about.
Well, in the different revolutions that, you know, like Chuzi talks about carnation, you know, revolution a lot. And that involves asking, you know what I mean, getting the military on our side. And a lot of people are very apprehensive about that, you know. And so what about the other revolutions that have happened that we don't hear about? We're not educated on these other ways that we've been able to get that. Because why? Because we're not educated on them. They don't want us to know these things. And that's why it's really, really important to talk to people that, even if you don't feel comfortable, I feel comfortable with Magnus, but like, even if you don't feel comfortable with talking to somebody, or you're not sure, ask the questions. What was the worst, you know what I mean? What was the worst outcome that could have come from that? I learned more. I learned, you know, I learned more about, you know, the fact that you know, like, you guys had really great questions, like Jilly, like, you know, like, what's a libertarian versus, you know, a Boogaloo boy? And like, there is very specific things that go with each one, and there is some overlay, and that's really important to recognize, is that not, you know, like, we don't have neat little boxes that everybody fits inside of.
Get out of my box.
Yeah. we're not like, you know, we're not nails and screws and little, like, neat little compartments at the hardware store.
Get your own box. Remember that? Get your own box.
Get your own box.
Get your own bag. I don't know. Get your own something or other. Get your own dongcopter. I'm trying to find the emoji because I want to tell Skylar her thing came in, but I can't find the one for the little TV. God damn it.
Al said that most gun deaths in the U.S. are suicides. Not so fun fact.
That's not so fun, but it should be examined, because is that just a matter of opportunity, or is there an underlying issue that the person is suicidal in the first place? I don't think the gun had anything to do with it, but
it's just a tool that they use then.
It's a thing that they do with guns. You know, people do. So thank you all for fucking hanging out and stuff with us.
Yeah.
That was fun.
This was a much earlier stream than my normal.
Much way earlier.
I know. But we still did like an hour and a half with Magnus.
You guys talk a lot. And that Richard Medhurst show in the middle was really good too. I like that.
Well, I think it's important that, you know, Magnus gets to see that and know what's being said, so that we know, like, where is it that people are misunderstanding the movement and what they are about. Because how else are we, you know what I mean, as uncomfortable as it is sometimes for us to see that, like, that's the only way that we can you know, share the information and let you know, like, now we have a place for Richie to understand, you know what I mean, like, no, that's not what this is.
Also, if you're just joining,
because we want him to give, you know, correct information also to his larger audience.
If you're just joining us, can the Boogaloos win the war in Ukraine was answered, and sadly Magnus did not think so. He didn't think it was a thing that would happen.
Yeah.
So it answers the question. You know, I thought it was a valid question, and I had no idea. It just sounded like a funny headline. So, whatevs.
Oh, Tony watches closely. Put the clip in. I think that's Ryan Christian's song, "Lost American Vagabond."
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, really, really good song.
Friggin' awesome. You guys should go. You should sign up to my SoundCloud thing too. Steve Color Live on the cloud of sounds.
Oh, you have a thing on there.
I've had a thing on there for years. I took all the old shit off and put some new shit on there.
So, what do you guys personally think about guns? Do you? I mean, you don't have to disclose it if you don't want to, but what are your personal opinions? Have you shot a gun? Do you know much about guns?
I enjoy shooting guns. Every time I've ever shot a gun, I enjoyed it. Some more than others. I really, at first I was like a little intimidated until I like shot like a 45 a few times, and that thing, that they kick pretty fucking hard. And then a 357, and then my other uncle had a Desert Eagle, which is like the biggest fucking handgun in the world. Basically, it's just gigundo, and like the bullets are like $30 a piece or something. It's ridiculous to own this gun, right? The ammunition it will put you in the poorhouse, and that was a little more than I expected. I was like, 45, 357, they kick, but then you shoot the 50 caliber and you're like, holy good Lord. Like, they got a lot of, what do you call it? Recoil.
Gosh, Popeye.
Insane.
Popeye spotted the girlfriend.
His girlfriend was really cute. That's awesome.
Prop, I don't agree. I don't think Magnus is a violent fool without a clue. I don't think that you are properly representing who he is by saying that.
Yeah, he doesn't come across that way. I mean, maybe if you met him in person and he acted like a violent fool, then you could say that, but I think he seems pretty rational. And I agree with the fact that, if you're doing something in support of peace, then even if it involves having a fucking gun, if you're maintaining order and peace, then that's winning.
I don't think that whether I don't think a gun makes you any particular way. I think it's your intention and that matters behind it.
It's absolutely about intention. And I've known lots of different people over the years, all kinds of different kinds of people. And a lot of them owned guns, and a lot of them were gun enthusiast people, and like from all walks of life, from like the most like stony fucking hippie kids to the fucking most gangster fucking dudes, and the most like, conservative church going, whatever. Like it just, I don't know, just every walk of life, it seems like, enjoys firearms. Otherwise, we wouldn't sell so fucking many of them.
Well, I mean, and there's so much around it. Like, when I was a kid, there wasn't, video games were first coming out. I was born in 80. So, Atari and then Nintendo and stuff like that. Like, we ran around outside and we threw things at each other. Like, like we had the acorn fights and rocks, and we're, dirty. And, we played like, games, but like it wasn't like we were, like I didn't have like the pop guns and stuff like that, but some of the other kids around did, and it just slowly has become more and more and more, more and more guns around all the time.
Desensitization to the gun absolutely has occurred over my lifetime. Like, it was like an innocuous, almost harmless thing, even after the fucking the chaos of 2 world wars.
Well, like
and shit.
Duck Hunt was like, you know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, Nintendo first, it was Duck Hunt. We all had those plastic little guns to shoot the ducks. You know what I mean? And it started out as simple as that, and then it became, you know, like it became more and more, you know.
Yeah, it got normalized.
And see, I didn't grow up with it. With, you know, I didn't grow up with guns in the household. But now, you know, like later on after I was an adult, I was surprised that my stepdad started, you know, to carry and had a concealed carry. And I don't know what he does now. But I know he had made his own bullets before too. And I remember feeling like, whoa, wow, that's weird to me. You know, like I grew up without guns. So it wasn't like it was like a normal thing for me. But you know, my dad, when I met him, when I moved from, you know, Connecticut to the West Coast to meet my dad and live with him, I shot shotguns with him because we had to hunt for our food and fish for our food in order to survive. So to me, it was survival. And I think it also that varies because some people, you know, like depending on how you feed your family, that is it's a normal way of life just to have a gun around. Right. So it's like, it really, really depends on the culture and, you know, the area, part of the world that you're from, and part of even within the United States, the country that you live, the part of the country that you live in. You know, I don't know what it's like outside other countries. You know, I haven't lived outside of the United States. Ex-military mystery said ex-military as well. Julie said, I don't like them, but I never had one. Popeye said, I have never fired a handgun, only a couple sizes, but the idea that if I want one, I can get one would, but I like the idea that if I want one, I could get one, but would rather not have one. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a matter of choice, and it's a matter of, you know, taking the thing seriously. You know, it's just be real, be authentic.
Lady Alex said, there's no reason for us to have killing machines. Their only purpose is to kill and maim. Yeah, and like I was just saying too, is also like some people, you know, that's how they hunt. That's what they have them for, is to kill. Yeah, and we have to, yeah, of course, there's bow hunting and there's other ways, but like, you know, like there's certain things that people, you know, typically use. So I think just like any tool, everything has its purpose, but we're not, I don't know. I don't have the solution. Like I really don't have.
I got a partial solution. Like, the idea that all the video games and all the things that everybody's been playing for all of these years, for whatever it's been, 35, 40 years of kids pretend shooting each other constantly, that psychologically, collectively, karmically, that's gonna coalesce into violence every so often, and you know, that's fucking tragic, and it's a shame, but it's called indoctrination. Like, you know what I mean? They got to have soldiers, you know, we got to make soldiers so we can make war, so they can make the money, you know, and that is the ethos of the imperialist. So it doesn't stop. I don't know how to correct it other than to teach the children to respect life, all life, and respect the tools in the same way. And that's like the most you can hope for, I think, in the situation. Allergic to weed, Elle. I'm sorry.
What?
Elle's kind of allergic to weed. Like, allergic in what way? What is your
and you're right here. Protection and self-preservation. Yes, there needs to be protection. The cops are going around like when people, if you think about it, like if your neighbor's too loud, or you know there's a disturbance or something, if you call in a cop, remember please that you're calling in a gun. You're not calling in just a person that's going to come in and mediate. You're calling in a gun to that situation. Like, they walk around with guns on them all the time. That makes me more nervous. I'm more nervous about the cops having guns.
Yeah. When, you're outside of, the stadium where the Mets play baseball in New York City and Brooklyn, and there's just a phalanx of fucking armed troopers standing there.
Literally at a freaking dead
strapped
show, guys.
with AR-15s, and flakjacks, full gear. I mean, they are geared up, and there's 20 of them in a fucking row standing in front, as limousines pull up and stuff to drop off important people. It's like, really? This is the United States of America right now? This is how you do that? And this was what, 3 years ago now?
Yeah, this was 3 years ago that we went to that dead show.
They have militarized the police so heavily that it's incredible. It's just holy fuck, man. You got the SWAT team all completely kitted out in front of the baseball stadium full of hippies. What did you think was going to happen? Somebody was going to spin the fucking governor or something? What? I don't understand the logic and the budget behind that. It just seems ludicrous to me.
For a concert, a
hey,
music
look at my
show.
dick, everybody. Check it out. Isn't it impressive? It's fucking gross. Gross.
Alcohol and guns can be a bad combo. That's right. Anything can be a bad combo. If your mental health is not okay, it can be a bad combo. If you lost everything at gambling, that can be a bad combo with a gun too.
Alex says that her last dead show was the 15th anniversary in '85, and Warren Zevon opened.
Wow.
Holy fuck, man. I didn't start seeing them till '83, and then I saw them from '83 until '95. But goddamn.
Owen said, I've shot and shot
I've heard
well.
those shows.
I don't have a handgun. I don't have an assault rifle. I can't imagine taking another person's life. Yeah, no, I don't ever want to have to, it. And Omar said it's tricky because some people need guns for self-defense. Yeah. So, and then Lady Alex said, can't people funnel their fascination for guns to other more productive hobbies?
One would think so. I prefer music to firearms, but that's just me. Apparently you get people like Ted Nugent who, likes music too, and guns are more his thing. I mean, I think you can see, people show you, demonstrate. Ted's a perfect example of that. I think his music is kind of I don't know. I can't think of anything really great to say about it. But he was really good shot with an arrow. Apparently, he's really good with a bow and an arrow. Shout out Ted Nugent, ladies and gentlemen.
Dingo said, yep, I'm a hippie socialist and grew up with guns and enjoyed target shooting. So I always hated Democrats who pushed gun control.
Yeah, man.
There's a balance with everything, and we just need to find our balance. We need to find, we are as a country, as a human race, we are very off balance right now. And say we build an intentional community, say we have this dream parallel society that I am always talking about, right? Say we have that and we live there, and we need security because the government wants to come in and take us down, break us apart.
Oh my God. Lady Alex is just trying to fucking crush my soul with her Grateful Dead story. She's like, Bob Ware once threw me a bouquet of roses at a show, Meadowlands, 1977. Damn it.
Bob Weir knows who Leo is.
Hey, you know what? Bobby fans are people too, okay?
He fan
Let's not forget.
Bobby is a fanboy over Leo, my dog. Same with John Mayer and Jeff. You know, just
It's what do you think about Lady Alex? Here's a completely off the beaten path question. What do you think about the current Dead and Company thing as compared to the shows that you saw back in the day? And do you like the Wolf Brothers lineup? Have you heard any of that? That's a multifaceted question.
it is. Bill said we need better health care in this nation. Then more people will have access to mental health services, which means less violence and more people who shouldn't get a gun being reported.
Word.
I think if we have a sense of community too, it's not, you know, like right now it's like everything is so divided. We need to go back to basics.
Interesting.
And we definitely need to look into the peaceful revolutions that have happened.
Alex M is not into Dead and Co. Sorry. I've never heard of the Wolf Brothers. The Wolf Brothers is cool because it's Don Was on the bass, the producer guy, and Jay Lane from Rat Dog, and Bobby and Jeff Comenti, and then he also has like Barry Sless on pedal steel and like horn players and like a cello dude and a violin guy, and like this whole thing. It's really fucking cool, like versions of the songs. I'm digging it. Just saying, it's not like fiery Grateful Dead from the 70s, you know, but it is it's fucking quality shit.
I gotta check. Who doesn't
It
have?
took me a long time to even warm up to the Dead and Co. at all. The tempos are so slow. John Mayer is a fucking monster guitar player, and I love OTL too, but there's just like something lacking sometimes, and it's getting better, you know, which I would hope.
I need to make sure that you guys have wrenches.
Everybody needs a wrench.
Does everybody have a wrench in here? Who doesn't have one?
I think I like the way Oz described it. He's like, you know, when everything is unbalanced, you just like go for a walk, figure out how to hold your head on your neck, and then once you get that down, then you can just like pick up on the current vibration and reverberations occurring all around you, and then you start to be symbiotic with those vibrations. I believe it was something like that. He said it a while back. I'm paraphrasing. But Oz Whistle's got some fucking insight into that sort of clearing up your mind thing.
Oz said, I'd like to see war conducted with fishing rods.
That would be great. You got me.
You got me with the fucking hook, bitch.
You fucking dick. That's
Have
a fucking
you guys ever
lure
hooked
in my
yourself?
eye.
If you guys ever hooked yourself when you cast in your line?
But can you imagine it would just be like people cursing at each other because, you know what I mean? You wouldn't really inflict that much damage on the next guy. Like, you asshole, I'm going to kill you. But you don't really kill anybody because your pole keeps breaking into pieces.
So
they have to be really cheap fishing poles.
I don't think that, you know, like, I don't think that guns are the answer to bring us peace, but they are a tool that people who are, you know, absolutely trained to use them are using.
And training people to use them is not as difficult as it seems. You can, like, you know what I mean? You can be gun safe, you know, and that's how, if you have a gun in your fucking household, then everybody should be gun safe in your fucking household. And that's the way it should be, as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, there's no reason to be weird about it. It's like,
I get what you're saying, Prop. But the cops also have the guns, and if it makes it where they, even playing field, I guess I see both sides of it. I see what you're saying, and I see the other side of it too. So I'm not saying that I have a strict line in the sand that we need one or the other. I think that sometimes things are necessary.
I don't think violence is ever the fucking answer, but
Bill
I think
said-
sometimes you have to protect yourself, and that's a fucking fact.
Yeah, but violence is not that's not where I go as a first resort. You know what I mean? Like that is a last resort thing for me, but I will protect myself. You know what I mean? If it comes down to it, I will protect myself and my family. Like there's just Bill said semi-automatic replica rifles are not going to stand up to the US military for a revolution though. People that think they are delusional. Yeah, no, they're definitely not. Oh, thanks, Gamer. I'm glad that you enjoyed the show. I'm glad that we were able to get Magnus. He's been so busy. We appreciate him so much for coming on.
Yeah, man. That was fun.
Popeye said if he owned a cabin, he would keep a gun. The AK-47 someone has is not real. Is it a semi-automatic replica? It's not a military grade. Okay. See, and I'm here to learn as much. I'm not here to just tell everybody what to think. I'm here to have an open discussion about it and talk about it. And Tony said, respect the animal and not hunt for a trophy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think it's important to have the conversation with people. You know what I mean? Where do you stand on guns and stuff? I've been pro gun my whole life, but I don't think that's going to change about anything because it just stands to reason with me. Like, it makes sense in my mind. Nobody's been ever able to completely convince me. I think of it as the last thing that you ever want to resort to. But having the option is fucking key in certain situations. So, why not? Preparedness is
Owen said
being aware.
He understands shooting for fun and food. You can't imagine taking another person's life. Handguns are and AR are not for hunting.
I agree. But they are comparable to some of the weapons that our fucking militarized police have. So, they have better guns than that. And that is really the main thing as things seem to twist and spiral out of control on this fucking planet. Those become
I don't think anything is black and white. I think that we need balance with everything is what that's kind of where I still.
I agree. We're just crazy radicalized hippies with 2 cats, 2 ferrets, a dog, and a parrot. What, you want to fight about it? Don't make me take you to England and stab you.
Don't get the bird mad.
I will take you right to Ireland and stab you with my fishing rod. I don't know where I was going with that, but damn it.
Oh, Al, I don't know. That's a good question. Does masturbation count as sex?
Well,
I think it does, but I don't know the consensus.
I don't know who's keeping score on that.
We're actually going to be having another controversial conversation, because that's kind of what we do.
Is there an arbiter of sex, someone who's so well respected and well-rounded sexual being that can say, yes, masturbation is sex with yourself?
Well, I guess as a society,
no,
we're the
it's
ones who
not.
define anything, right?
Okay.
As a
Well,
consensus,
that's what I mean. Is someone so learned at sex, like a guy like Sting, You know, a guy who's like legendary tantric sex for 42 days in a row or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that kind of fucking weird shit. That guy might know, but I can't answer that question for you. I don't know if it is. I'm just saying.
Lady Alex
Russell
said,
Brand,
yes,
Russell
self-love,
Brand might be
baby.
able to tell you.
He might be able to tell me what.
if that is true, if masturbation is sex. I believe it's a form of sex. Really.
We're going to be having some
specifics is where I
controversial
get-
topics, such
I
as
get
like
confused.
sex workers and people who are have been in that field. We're going to be having that coming up. That should be really interesting.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, and then, well, Bella, see, these are good questions. We're going to have to keep these questions for when we have somebody that knows a little bit more. If I fuck my clone, is it gay or is it just masturbation?
See, now that is.
You have a clone?
That's
my first question.
That is a funny fucking line. You just breezed right by.
Oh, what?
Elle's like, I don't even find myself attractive. I don't even practice masturbating.
I put that on the screen.
I thought that was fucking hilarious.
That was hilarious.
That's messed up and so funny. So messed up at the same time. I'm glad you circled back to masturbation. I mean, well, it all kind of was, right? We were talking about guns and stuff, so yeah.
Mystery said foreigners don't understand just how little training officers are required to have in most places here in the States.
It was kind of a circle jerk.
It's true. Hi, Anthony.
Anthony. What's up, Mystery? He's the man with the smile. And V.S. Adams, Bill Bradley, Bella LaGreasy, Jilly Love, Gamer. Who else we got in here? We got a bunch of people in this room. Lady Alex M, of course, and the Oz Whistles. Omar. Dingo was in there.
Popeye said, when you want to have a gun when you eat brown bear.
True.
Yeah, you don't want to piss off brown bear though.
You want to make sure that I don't know, man.
Consult an expert on how to escape a brown bear. We are not experts on guns or bears.
If you could have like a portable teleporter at that point, that would be better than a gun, I think. You know, it's something you could just kind of blink and be gone in a second. Like, oh shit, Scotty, beam me up. And you just like blink to the next, couple feet down the path or whatever, past the bear. So he's completely unaware.
Prop said I masturbate because I find other people attractive. LOL.
Oh. See, it's all about perspective, Elle. She's like, oh, I've been doing it wrong all this time.
No, God. Let's not evaluate else.
I'm not. I shouldn't even have said that, but it was because Prop said he thought about other people, so it was funny to me. Because the first joke was so funny that it was, God damn it. You guys might want to be a comedy team.
Popeye said my uncle wrote the gun laws for California in the 70s. Wow.
God damn it. Popeye, we're gonna have to blame the 70s on you.
It's all your uncle's fault.
I mean, well, not you, but like your uncle, your dickhead uncle who wrote all those laws. No, that's funny and weird.
Bill Bradley said the Second Amendment was written when there were citizen militias and a weak central military. The government did not want to fund arming the militias, so they would so they wanted people to bring their own gun if called.
Right. Everybody got to have one. You bring your gun? Nah, I forgot it. You bring an extra one? No. We had to stop at Bob's house and he forgot his gun.
Mystery was a decent shot, better than her husband, and he'd get frustrated. Oh my God. Prop, this is he said I masturbate because I find Oz whistle attractive. Can you imagine Oz making a whistle and testing it out? Oh my god, no, I don't want to.
What
No
the
offense.
fuck, dude?
Okay.
Oz is still stuck in the 70s. He's like, what's the 70s, man? He's like, that seems so long ago. Yeah.
And Bill said, but the militia is no longer necessary.
That's wild. Popeye's uncle also defended the Hells Angels in court and they got off. Dun, dun, dun. Just the facts, ma'am. VS Adams says, monkey no see, monkey no hear, monkey no say. Fuck you. I'm a monkey.
All right. I'm going to see what else is going on in this chat.
I'm not good at reading the modern hieroglyphics, so forgive me if I got that wrong. This conversation got bigly weird. Well, it's bound to, dude. You know, there was a lot of fucking, you know, a lot of gun talk. There was some testosterone thrown around, some fruits and vegetables. We don't know what the hell happened. There was masturbation.
Gamer said, I didn't bring up masturbation. Gamer,
it's called We Are
freaking love
Distracting
you.
Ourselves, Rob, from the madness. Okay, we have to deflect it. I prefer to call it the love flute.
Oh man, wait until we're having like, you know, a
'Cause it
completely
blows so
taboo
sweet.
like sex working talk conversation on here. You guys are gonna be like, you guys are gonna
Racy.
go all over the
Welcome
place.
to Burrito After Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. He calls it the love flute because it blows so sweet, baby.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. What else is happening? How is everybody else doing?
Yeah, how is everyone doing? I've been meaning to ask. I saw you all sitting there and thought, I wonder how they're all doing. It's dinner time, Popeye said.
I'm a few minutes behind on the chat, but I said walk balanced head. Listen
love
for
flute
3
is the
sounds
second.
at once. Enjoy the movement. Balance head physically. Not as easy as it sounds.
No, it's not. I like intentionally took a walk and did that and was like, oh. And then once I got it, I was like, oh, I see what you're saying. Oh yeah. There's a little fucking sweet spot you find and you feel better about shit. And the love flute is the second song of the Love Boat. Okay. Dingo said, I don't know. This has neither been confirmed nor denied by Captain Stubing or Gopher. Isaac could not be reached for comment.
Do you see what Lady Alex said?
If there are no guns, we'll have to have sex like the bonobos. Yes. Yes. Son of a bitch. Let's see. They wrote it somewhere.
Make sure if you guys notice anybody doesn't have a wrench, let me know because I can't see it on the stream from the StreamYard end. I can't see that.
Yeah, it's an illusion through the stream.
Everyone's universally equal
They're
on
all
the
the same.
StreamYard end of it.
They're all the same. All the same. Prop started with his vibrator at an abstinence rally. It's true.
I don't know what option it was,
That
but
little-
Lady doesn't like it.
That little Canadian salamander. or however he says that.
Bill said, "Cops have real guns. We have replicas. It's not the same."
Lady Alex said, "I don't like that option, Steve."
Yes, I don't know what that was for, but
I don't know.
I like that
Okay,
though.
Julie.
I like your denial of his. No, I don't like that option. That's
I just don't like
that
the option. I'm gonna be honest about it. Hey, duly noted. I'm not sure what was up for grabs, but okay.
Lady Alex said, "How many here have seen a gunshot victim?"
I have seen 2 gunshot victims in my life.
I've had guns pointed right at me too,
Yeah,
like
I've had-
directly at me, like don't move, from somebody who was not well and was not a cop.
I've had,
It's not, you know.
I've had both civilian and police pointing guns in my face, automatic ones, and that was less than fucking wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
Especially with my boy that I thought was fucking straight up cool dude is got a Uzi in my face. That was not cool. I was not cool with it for like a good week. I think I had like PTSD really hard. Like I kept waking up like, oh, fucking thinking of it. It was fucking miserable.
Yeah, woke up like physically and verbally like expressing the trauma of what happened.
Yeah, it was fucking sketchy. Sketchy when people point guns at you and you think they're gonna shoot you. And you're absolutely right. It's it's fucking traumatic as fuck. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Unless they were fucking trying to hurt mine.
Lady Alex, you taught sex ed. You gotta come on when we do the show. When
Shit.
we
Is
talk
she
about sex and stuff.
Is she the enlightened?
You gotta
being?
come on and be on the panel.
I
Like
knew it.
anybody that wants to come on. You guys all know if you've been here before. And if you haven't, please make sure you hit like and subscribe and all that stuff. So, if you enjoy the content, you can come back and see us.
And
But
subscribe to everybody else.
I invite everybody to come on to the show because it's not about how many people you have following you or how popular you are. It's about the fact that we are all mutual aid for each other. And so I would love, I know I'm super far behind on you guys, aren't I? But yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah, Al, I skipped over the comments, that some of them, and yeah. She's a TMI, Popeye. I would, okay, yeah. So I mean, it's definitely, it's a nicer conversation to have about nature and peace, love, and happiness. Jilly, we are right there with you. We want to talk about those things, but we also.
So Lady Alex is one of those people who could answer that question probably if you asked it on that podcast.
Oh, well, you gotta email Steve, Steve Cutler live at gmail.com or DM me and we set it up. Let's set it up because I have a couple
That
people.
was weird. Okay,
interested.
Just watching that little clip right there, it was just a little thing that says, "I was a sex worker," and you're going, "Ooh, you got to email Steve." Like,
not because of any weird reason.
That was just I'm just saying it played back kind of weird when I was watching it on the screen here. Like, that was weird, man. She just made me look like a fucking pervert. What's going on? Did I need a sex worker? I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, Al, like don't.
But yeah, no, by all means, even if you're not a sex worker and even if you don't have a picture of your pet that you need to send me, which of course you do. If you have a pet and you haven't sent me a picture of it, please do so and send it to stevecutlerlive@gmail.com. And you don't have to, it doesn't matter what you put in the thing because I will read it and I will put it with the others. And then eventually we'll have this like beautiful montage of furry animals and creatures that people have sent me pictures of.
That is a completely different topic.
It's an absolutely and also
than what the sex worker topic is that I'm putting together a panel of on sex work and and
will
health and all that.
forward the email concerning the sex work to the appropriate outlets. And Lucky. Is that what I was supposed to say? Did I do good? So send me all the bloop bloops on the bloop bloop to the machine and the thing so I can read them.
Or you can my DMs are open on Twitter. Also,
Yeah.
you can get me
Also.
that way.
Also, that's at Lucky Burritos on the Twitterverse.
Yes, Lucky Burritos with an S.
And mine is the at Steve Cutler Live and the Twitterverses. If you ever want to just, drop us a line or make fun of our clothes or, ask about masturbation.
Elle said, I love how we're having gun and masturbation conversations at the same time.
They seem like parallel conversations, don't they? I mean, they seem kind of, they're a little symbiotic, if you ask me. Did Dingo send his dick pic to his pet? What? I don't know.
What?
I thought
I don't want dick pics.
No, please.
That's
don't send dick pics to
Steve will
Cutler
see
Live.
it if you send it.
Only, well, if you're a sex worker, I don't know. I don't know exactly what the minutia is there, but use your best judgment. If, yeah, I don't know. I thought Thomas, San Francisco Thomas, was talking about it last night.
What
Why
we
do they
are?
call him SF Thomas if he's from Missouri? I don't know. Let's ask him. We'll have him on and we'll ask him.
He's been on. Groot has
I
been on
know.
the show before.
Groot has been on. He has. Stroke your dick for peace. Well, that that seems appropriate.
Well,
Maybe-
Popeye wants
maybe
to
better
know.
suited for the sex.
Popeye wants to know why we've never heard about 3D printed sex toys.
No, I've definitely heard about 3D sex toys. I have a full, extensive catalog. Don't you remember? You sent it to me. No, that wasn't you. Popeye.
What?
No. Well, Popeye was asking about buying a gift for someone.
I'm
I'm just kidding. I'm joking right now. I'm making up a story.
trying
Trying to be silly.
Julie said that L triggered us all with the masturbation.
But it was Prob's fault. And Hell just kept it going for him. Damn that kid. He came in here and disrupted the entire thing. Made it all about
I was gonna be
love flutes.
I was gonna be what was it? What it was one of the toy company, the adult toy companies, the Goddess or whatever the fuck, Diva. I was gonna sell sex toys at one point.
Yeah, when I hold you in my arms, I feel your finger on my
Oh my god. Yes. Oz Whistles has it right. I'm grateful for this family. You lift my spirits every time. And damn, I needed that.
Thank you for not sending the dick pics, Dingo, to me. He sent the pet pics a few months back, but yes.
Yes, anyone who wants to send a picture of a pet, a beloved pet.
Yeah, and even if you're really
fur
attached to your
baby.
penis and you think it's your pet, just,
Yeah, we're not talking about that pet. See, you had to conflate the two.
I don't want to confuse anyone, but that's a different show. No clip pics. Well, I see. I don't know what the fucking minutia is. On the what the cutoff is, what the acceptable parameters are for that. Most of which is legal.
Oh my gosh. I think what do we need a Steve Cutler music stream tonight?
Oh yeah. I did one of those last nights. I gotta play that one song so we can put it on the thing for Saturday.
Well, Omar, I'm glad you were able to join us today. I try to do some different times. I try to be pretty flexible with who is coming on the show and try to go based upon their schedule sometimes. So I'm trying to, do different times and days to see what works for everybody.
Yeah, that's okay. We're gonna have past puppies that have passed, and puppies that are future, and puppies that are present. It's all good. Thank you very much for tuning in last night. Maybe I'll play another little thingamawatchy and play some different songs. Why not?
Yeah, for us, it's not about like being, we ask people to like and subscribe because we want to get the word out to more people, obviously. And we want to grow because we want more family to be with us. It's not a matter of anything else. I don't think we're going to monetize on YouTube ever. It's just, we're trying to get over onto Rockfin. We have a petition going where we ask everybody to please share and try to make it known that, they should have us on their platform. Why not? Because we have so many things to talk about.
Got a lot of shit to talk about, y'all.
And we have things to talk about that we can't talk about on YouTube.
Oh yeah, we're just like doing the thing. If you can share the video, this live stream on your Twitter or whatever, or wherever you share it, and include the at Rockfin, so that they keep getting tagged in our shit, then they're gonna have to pay attention to what the fuck we're doing. So that's what we're trying to do. So any help you guys can be with that is muchly appreciated. We thank you in advance.
Yes, your furry baby pictures. See, now I feel like I have to be all careful in specifying what I'm talking about when I'm saying like Dingo said I sent my pet pics.
Yeah. He adopted a 6-year-old stray pug mix today.
Who did?
Dingo. Come on.
No, I want to see.
Baba Yaga Prepper says I have a pet.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What kind of? Do I want to know?
I'm almost scared to ask.
Oh, wait. See, Popeye said, wait, Dingo sent dick pics to his pet.
Well, thanks for hanging with us today, Elle. Appreciates that.
We're random. It's like, yeah, Magnus left, and then we just kind of went. Blah, blah. We're just talking about all the weird things.
Random is better. It's good to at least just be able to shoot the shit with people.
Owen. Well, I'm not a doctor, but I will have a look at it.
It's good to be open-minded,
All right, let me see. No, I sent my pet dick pics. Oh, I don't know.
I sent my pet's dick pics. I don't know. Did you get consent from the pet? If the animal is yours, does the pet still have to consent?
Get out of there, Steve.
What do you do?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Bella said Steve is cracking me up. That was from 5 minutes ago. So.
All right. Fair enough.
I'm trying to catch up.
I'm trying to be consistent, but it's hard to tell what gets laughs and what doesn't.
Julie said, "Twat, I couldn't hear you."
Twat, I can't hear you. Could your vagina a little closer?
Yeah, Dingo lost a
Hell yeah.
puppy a few months
Lady
back.
Alex is rock fam. Fuck yeah. Steve fam. I urge everyone, we connected our YouTube pages so that you can just like be on one or the other to get to the other one. And it's like a portal, man. It's like a portal through time. You can watch some like Steve covers playlist, and then like just while you're, vacuuming and painting the garage or whatever, and then you can just blam be right in a fearlessly authentic podcast with a Boogaloo boy in one fell swoop. Amazing technology.
Bella said, "Hello, Rockman Management. Please accept the Lucky Burrito masturbation show on your platform. Thanks."
As much of that as possible, Bella. I think that's what's gonna win. I know how you're really a fan of masturbation and masturbation promotion on your platform, and
See, there we go. We got a little commercial right there for him.
right, that should be the voiceover. Hello, Rockfin Management. Please accept the Lucky Burrito masturbation show on your platform.
Dingo said, "LOL, right off the rails." Yeah, we went off the rails. Yeah, and Rockfin is free to sign up.
It is.
They've been fixing their chat over there and the way that everything works. I was like so happy about that. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that would be amazing if
Some
they
people
fix this.
are still bummed about it because I think the people that do it on their phones through their browser are having issues, or maybe it's through their app. I'm not sure, but one way or the other, since they got rid of that scroll lock, for some users, it's like the chat is a pain in the ass for them. So
no, but
now it opens it up. I think on this one,
well, the Rockfin acts different on the computer, a tablet, and a phone.
Yes.
3 complete the same exact thing. Like, so on YouTube, we know how it's going to behave on each of those on each of the different devices.
Yeah.
It acts very similar. Rockfin, it acts different on each one. So I think that they're getting the kinks out.
They're tuning it up more. I think they're getting to the right place, because on the computer it's beauty now. It's perfect. And on the tablet it seems completely workable. So that's good. I don't know about the phone. The phone I think might be the sticking point or something, and it might still be a stumbling block removing that scroll lock from the chat. But once they figure out how to do that, they will have it. I don't understand personally, and I've heard other people talk about this, is the fact that you can have someone like, fucking Whitney Webb go live, right? That has like thousands upon thousands of fucking subscribers, and then only have like 100 people in the chat, 200 people in the chat at the most. Like, I've never seen 5,000 people in the chat on anything on Rockfin ever. I don't know what the limit is. You know what I mean? Is it just?
I think that a lot of people got out of the habit of using their chat because their chat sucks.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe they
it's
just
the interface, but now they're changing it. So give credit where it's due. I wish that yeah,
it is really hard to chat with using your phone. Absolutely. YouTube, it's easier than most of them, and if Rockfin adapts that sort of tech, that will save their face for sure. But I think that's an issue though, that I don't hear anybody really talking about fully, is the fact that I don't believe I've ever seen more than, I don't know, maybe 600 people in a chat room or on a live viewing any one particular person on the Rockfin ever. So that's weird, because some things, I've seen fucking thousands upon thousands watching Jimmy Dore, or you know what I mean, or other content creators getting crazy big numbers comparatively. I don't know if that's just like a limitation of the Rockfin of the platform itself.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, Chrome absolutely is spyware. And pretty much everything that you trigger by searching for anything on almost any browser. Brave is better, but they're all like, you can't escape it. They's watching.
They are.
I like the Brave. I like how it offers different stuff that you don't normally get. Like you can do stuff on it. That's pretty groovy.
For
and
sure.
I think that's what it's going to be like eventually. You know what I mean? Everybody just keeps reinventing the wheel when it comes to fucking browsers and security and trying to fucking remain anonymous and or lower the instances of them being able to take a fucking snapshot of your bullshit.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap this stream up for right now. Are you going to come on and do a stream too, Steve?
I will.
Yeah. All right. We are going to switch places and switch everything around. And we're going to come right back on live with Steve Cutler live.
Yeah.
So if you are not on his channel, it's leave it to Steve. It's Steve Cutler live. He makes it so super easy. Like he doesn't have this whole like Lucky Burrito Fearlessly Authentic podcast. Let me see. Let me grab a link to your thing real quick, and then we can grab that and we can go and do a live.
Yeah, it's Steve Cutler live at gmail.com.
That's the email.
That's my emails. My YouTube is also the same username.
Loaded up the wagon with trip supply.
Oh, that was your top.
That was my video that auto plays.
Yeah, at the very top.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very top.
Where do I find?
If you click in the address bar right there, you can copy that. And I just share that.
All right. This is a link over to Steve's channel. I hope that you guys will meet us right over there. Because I'm going to end this and we're going to be right back.
All right.
It's be like a really quick, like maybe
10 minutes. Peace out.
10 minutes. Not even.
11.
No.
7.
It's not going to take us 10 minutes.
4 minutes and 20 seconds.
How long is it going to take us, guys? Let's start.
4 minutes.
Hydrofield cuts through my neighborhood. Somehow that always just made me feel good. And I can put a spare bulb in my hand, light up my yard. Late at night when the wires in the walls sing in tune with the din of the falls. I'm conducting it all while I sleep to light this whole town.